enough of Keanu. Yes, it's true. Whenever we see you in another movie, get to wishing that you were in them all. Our hearts cry out, Keanu, haven't aged a day in 30 years. Now we're looking back on your career. Can't get enough of Keanu.
Can you get regular cupcakes by Melissa that are regular size?
What is the green one?
Yeah, I don't know.
Only one way to find out. Let's do a taste test
It's
on
green
Mike.
and it has.
Jake's picking up the green one. Jake,
Yeah.
why don't you take a bite of that and let's
It's
hear
mint.
it. Let's hear what you.
I'm guessing it's chocolate mint.
And we are recording.
Yeah. What do you
Excellent.
think about it?
Oh, we are recording?
Of course we are.
Oh, you know what people love when I eat soft cupcakes on mic? Soft.
What is this one? I don't even know how to describe this one.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
good. That's like mint chocolate.
Oh, wait.
Banana cream.
Give me another.
All right, Pat, what flavor do you want?
Everyone pop one in your mouth.
All right. Hello,
All right.
and welcome
Adam,
to the
here.
Bake My
You
Melissa
grab one, too.
podcast. I'm going to get the confetti here.
I want
Hell
to
yeah.
I want to try this guy.
That looks
I like the one I picked.
That looks like custard. Are you sad now?
I don't
You didn't
like what
it? What
I don't
flavor
like
was
what I
it?
chose.
What flavor was it?
I think it's lemon.
You don't like the lemon ones? Those are. I love that little tart.
It's this one.
Yeah. Oh, you grabbed the lemon one?
Now this is content.
This is definitely content.
Yeah.
Hi, and welcome to the
and-
Bake My Melissa taste test contest.
Chewing show.
Yeah.
One of our friends gave us this
Mukbang.
tray of mukbanging.
Yeah, mukbanging.
This is mouth mukbanging.
I am wondering right now, like, will I leave this in?
Well, we
Yeah,
don't
we'll
know.
find
out.
I'll listen back to it.
I really want to get like that comment of like, who invited this guy on? Why are there cupcakes? Like in the first 20 minutes, all they do is talk about cupcakes. 1 star. I want to be that guy. I want this podcast to be that.
Well, you didn't
comment.
For the record,
I didn't bring them.
he didn't bring them.
Yeah, we got this from another friend yesterday.
Also,
the day,
and-
the day before
a better
we recorded.
friend.
And Adam, remember, no one will ever say like, who brought this guest on? Because we have these two guys
Yeah, I know.
at all times. And Matt will always go further than anything and do something potentially more off-putting than anything you might do.
I feel like
because
that's
what
a
Matt.
ch- I feel like that's a challenge.
And I don't say that as like a bad thing. That is
Yeah.
Matt's brand.
Oh, no.
So
to
Matt-
be the he's the buttercup
Yeah.
of the group.
Yeah, and like Buttercup, he
challenge?
burps and farts all the time.
Yeah.
Like in the
Let's
Powerpuff
just
Girls,
set the
we all remember
stage.
that.
I mean, 6
So
million.
anyways, Matt set a high bar, but
Yeah.
like in order to beat it, I mean, I don't know, you'd have to like throw up or shit your pants on the podcast. I don't
That's
know
not what we mean
well,
by that.
I don't want to go that far.
Yeah,
but,
I would
you
never
know.
do that either.
Okay, well,
Well, I mean, I guess that's why he would win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
but
fair,
then I'd
fair.
probably cut that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you?
Because look, I cut like any kind of flatulence.
Okay.
I cut out, and when it gets to actually like if anyone actually like poops on episode like on mic, yeah, that's not going.
what's
in.
funny is
But
that
what
you
if it's
wouldn't
not
hear it, you
audible?
just hear
Yeah.
a person go, "Oh no!" That's the first thing that you hear.
I'm making big mistake.
I don't think anybody. Would
And then everyone would be like, "Oh no!" And then we'd all throw up. On mic.
honestly,
And then
best episode ever.
That would be
Onto
fucking
our
sick. Yeah,
microphones.
just like you just hear us going like, "Oh, what's that smell?"
and then cue
in
the
stereo.
cue the instrumental music that cuts in at the end, like.
That actually reminds me of
be
so one
legendary
time I was on
episode.
the school
Really
bus like
funny.
in elementary school, and on the way in, this
heard
one
he liked to
kid
start.
like had spaghetti for breakfast, and for some reason
Hell yeah, and a glass
got
of milk, I
sick
bet.
and threw up the wait, so he threw up his entire breakfast through his nose. Covering the entire back of the bus on the way to school.
It came out his nose?
his nose. And then, because it was
so
so
fucked up.
disgusting, the kid who sat across from me had a Trix bar for breakfast, like the ice cream Trix, and he threw it up in 3 separate colors.
That's awesome.
That's a disgusting thing.
That's
I
fucking
remember-
wild.
It was wild. We had the tape up the back of the bus. It was so
You
bad.
had to tape it up?
Oh, yeah.
Like a police song. You not correct.
Police line.
That's awesome. I wonder what that smells
Just a
like.
detective
Oh, wait.
the next day smoking a cigarette. So what happened here?
no spaghetti,
3 colors.
and multicolored.
It
cheese
seems
grill bars.
this came from a nasal passage. You can tell by the way the spaghetti noodles whipped around.
These 3 colors, they couldn't possibly come from the same mouth.
It was so weird. Like it's
Only
just like
one
in
person
one, like it was like a
manufactures this.
cylindrical thing too. But
And then this monk S detective shows up, and he's like, "Well, actually," and he starts researching different brands
he
of
takes his
cereal
monk-
bars,
It has to taste every vomit.
but somehow
he's
still
monk.
has like germophobia.
Right, he'll like put
Gets
like
to eat
he'll like
the
dip
vomit.
his pinky in and then like lick it and be like, "Oh, this is
okay,
no
Patrick,
spaghetti."
you've taken it too far.
Chill, bro.
No,
no, I
Jesus.
haven't.
Remember that picnic we had where that little girl puked
Yeah.
and on the table and like it just sort of slid like this
Well,
giant
she
wave.
puked in a really weird way. She just put her face gently. We were like kids, and this was another little girl that was eating with
yeah.
us. And she just put her face quietly down on the table, and then just a pool of vomit just spread silently across the table, and everybody went, "Ew!" And then, of course, on cue with everybody screaming "ew," the family's giant golden Labrador jumped on the table and started eating all of her throw up, and everybody
Yeah.
like
And
started
everyone-
getting sick.
everyone
and
started
running away.
gagging.
That's what happens at
Yeah.
the kids' table.
And so now that we have driven away anyone who might still be
Yeah.
listening to this episode, I just want to say, welcome to Can't Get Enough of Keanu,
Hello.
the internet's premier Keanu Reeves podcast, in which we explore the filmography of that great, ageless, enigmatic Canadian actor movie by movie. I'm Patrick Willems.
I'm Jake Torpey.
I'm Matthew Torpey.
And today we have a guest with us, as you probably heard, because there was a 4th voice that you may not have been able to identify. Adam Lance Garcia, welcome to the show.
I'm so happy to be here, and I'm not nauseous at all.
Yeah,
Hello.
Great. I'm glad we didn't start this off
You
with the-
brought up the
I
school
did.
bus
No, I
story.
did. I actually, before we get any further, I've been very excited to be on this podcast because I've been listening to the beginning.
Wait, are you aware that this is a bad podcast?
No, yeah, it's a very bad podcast. I hate watching
Thank
or
you.
hate listen to it.
Okay, I just
But,
want to
yeah.
be clear. No one should be honored
Yeah.
to be here.
No.
We're making a bad show.
You're making a bad show.
It is a waste of our
It
time.
is a waste of everyone's time, especially mine.
My
But
feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
You should be. So no.
Jake, you were really. I'm really proud of this.
I have fun.
Yeah.
This is the highlight of my week.
Yeah.
No, and that's true. I got him drunk once, and he admitted that. So,
Oh no.
for those who listen to it and follow myself and Patrick online, we have a very contentious Twitter relationship for some reason.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You guys
I-
have
it's-
Twitter beef?
It's really pleasant.
It's really pleasant.
I'm
We don't
just
yell at each other at all.
mean to you.
You are very mean to me. But you, there was a couple of months ago.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you had said that like. I said I listened to the podcast and you don't get paid for the podcast, and you demanded a payment for being for listening to the podcast. So
what?
I'm paying it as per your terms. So I want you to describe what's in the bag.
This is uncharted territory for our podcast, and I only barely remember this interaction.
What is this
Pat's
Twitter
opening
beef
up a little
bleeding
present
into
right
our
now.
show?
What's going on here? What's in that bag?
What's in the bag?
What's in the box?
Yeah. What's
What the fuck?
Pat, what's in it?
What is it?
What's in the bag?
So
What a
Patrick
showman to the
demanded
end.
that I bring him 2
fuck
pig
is that?
ears.
A pig ear?
2 pig ears. That was his demand. 2 pig ears per episode. So that was his
so
standard.
gross.
No. That was his standard. 2 pig ears. So I brought 6 because there's 3 of you.
Ew. This
Yes!
is not a lie.
Are they edible? Can you
For
eat them?
dogs.
For you, yeah, go nuts, man.
For you,
For
you
me.
dog.
I'm gonna put them out on the table.
Oh,
they
they're
like
hard.
have.
I know this is disgusting for everyone listening. It is disgusting, but those were the terms
which
that
one- hold
Patrick
that
put
one.
up there.
I'm not look like Adam is telling the truth. I did say this. I did say pig ears.
Why? What is your deal?
yeah, I don't
Why
know.
would you say
Uh,
that?
Fuck.
because
Ew, I hate these.
wait. I dropped one.
They smell like bacon.
They do.
They
yeah.
smell kind of good though.
Wait. Wait. Look. There's hair. There's hair on it.
No, they're disgusting.
And
Let me see
to
one.
be
Let me
clear,
get 2 so I can
I-
do the ears.
I didn't think any. I did not think you would actually do this.
Oh, no,
I said this because I didn't think. I never imagined this would really happen.
And what did I say when you told me that? I said you would regret this tweet.
Adam, I will never try to like bluff
Yeah.
you again.
Dude, you just gave us 6 pig ears in a green bag.
Wait,
Matt's wearing the pig ears and pretending
Hold
to be a
up,
piggy.
Matt. I gotta take a picture.
Yeah. when I was going to buy them, I was trying to explain to my girlfriend. I'm like, listen, I have to go buy pig ears, and she's like, why? Why pig ears? And I'm like, I don't know. This is what he said, so I have to get him pig ears.
I'm getting 6 pig ears for 3 men.
Yes, I mean
That I don't have
mind you,
never met.
Babe, listen.
I was debating
You just
between
need to
getting.
make a quick sub at Petco.
I was debating between getting every 2 per episode I've listened to.
my God.
And I was like, that seems a bit much. The guy at the shop was like, well, I can give you a big bag for $20. And I'm like, I'm not.
How many
go
pig
there.
ears do you think come in a big bag?
It
at
was
this
like
guy's
it was
standard?
10, so it'd have to buy
pig
like I
ears?
think I probably have to buy like 2 bags.
These
or
are
something
highly
like that.
intelligent animals. I
Yeah,
would die
I
for
know.
this.
I know. No, they're absolutely gross.
I mean, look,
and
none of
my
us-
cats were smelling the bag because
I'm
like,
just
what
joking.
is this thing? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not gonna open it.
I hate that
The
they're dry
veins.
pig ears, but yeah, you can see the
The
veins. in
veins
them.
are what's
Yeah.
disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I have
I'm sorry. I know I'm derailing this episode, but
No,
screw it.
dude, this is amazing.
We're literally sitting at a
This-
table full
honestly,
of dried husky pig
This
ears
is
right
peak.
now.
Can't get enough of Keanu.
Respect for bringing the fucking pig ears.
Don't
dude.
never
Yes.
forget this is a podcast about the filmography of Keanu Reeves. As we are sitting here handling actual pig ears.
Yeah.
Where does one buy pig ears? Like a butcher shop?
No, it's a pet shop.
It's a
pet
dog,
shop.
It's
Dog
a
treat.
dog, it's a
Choice,
dog
yeah.
treat.
So if any of
okay.
your listeners have dogs and would like to get some free dog ears, they should tweet
Those are
at
pig ears.
Keanu Podcast
Yeah.
and give us 2 reasons as to
piggy
why
pat.
they should have a pig ear. The best reasons, I think, can win free pig ears.
You look like fucking Dobby, dude.
Yeah.
It's Pig Rick Willems.
Please, sir.
Patrick, the H stands for hog. I'm just a
Patrick Hogwillem. That could be a porn star name too.
Pat Thick Hog Willems. Honestly, Thick Willems also works. That's
Yeah,
a
it
good
does
one.
work.
Classic thick Willems.
Yeah.
And the Brorpies here.
God damn it.
Now we are
Shock Jock
just-
Radio.
Yeah, Look, Brorpies is catching on.
Yeah.
It is.
The
It's not
burpees,
fun
yeah.
to say.
It makes me want to burp when you say
Yeah,
that
it
word.
sounds like
It
someone's
does.
burping.
I think what was an iTunes review that where the headline was just "Oops, all Brorpies."
Yeah.
And that made me so happy.
It's gonna happen if we can get Ben and Mark down here to just sit at the
could have
table
an-
with us. We
For
could
our
have
listeners, those are the other 2.
the 2 younger
Brorpies.
Brorpies.
Yeah.
There's 4 Brorpies.
And then we
Yeah.
can start with, there was an accident at the Burpee factory. I'm just going to refill my coffee really
All right, cool.
Okay,
So let's talk about him while he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, okay, so
I hate
we're deep into this episode already.
Yeah.
Hello.
So Adam,
Yes.
you are a video producer at Wired,
I am.
which we're not going to talk about.
We're not going to talk about it because I don't want to upset my employers.
Yeah.
Exactly. They would just fire you. They're like, you went on that show?
That show. I did try to explain to my boss, like, I'm going on a Keanu Reeves podcast, and they're like,
Yeah.
"What does that mean?" I'm like,
What does that mean?
Every movie.
Your boss
in
isn't a
his-
fan?
Yeah.
Doesn't Wired have to cover like
your boss doesn't know about our show?
Cyberpunk
No,
2077?
now he does.
Yes.
Now he does.
Ooh.
Dude,
no,
nice.
but yeah. But that, being a Wired producer is just one of my things. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about that.
No, we're here to talk about Keanu Reeves,
Our dude.
the
and so,
ageless Canadian,
yeah, ageless enigmatic.
enigmatic
Canadian actor.
excuse me.
I've said that enough times to
I know you
know
do.
it
Yeah.
by heart. But I want to now do switch over to our favorite podcast within a podcast.
Yes.
It is called Keanu Chronicles. And Adam, tell us when you first encountered Keanu Reeves.
I'm gonna say it was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's at least.
How old were you?
Yeah.
Jesus. It was 86.
Where were you living at the time?
Well, I was living in Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, a little section called Seagate, which is right at the end of Coney Island. So I probably saw it at the, probably saw it on the, was it 86 it came out?
Wait, you saw it in theaters?
No, I couldn't have seen it in theaters. 'Cause,
89.
It was 80, the original one came out in 89?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I might have seen it in theaters. I might have seen it on VHS because
Nice.
I probably got it from Royal Video, which was down the block on Neptune Avenue. And it was just like that movie that like you're a kid and it's like time travel and
It's perfect.
it's perfect. Yeah. I think that was the first time I knew of Keanu Reeves. So I think the Bill and Ted, and then I think I probably saw Bogus Journey in theaters.
Okay.
How'd you feel about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I rewatched it before this because I wanted to watch both back to back, so I can have the context, so I can actually sound
You
like I
need
know.
that context.
Yeah, I need that.
Oh yeah. By
context.
the way, this is our episode about Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah,
Bogus
Bogus
Journey.
Journey. Yeah. So I really wanted to make sure that I saw both back to back to sort of have the full story. But like, yeah, it's just like these two kids having an adventure. And yeah, that's my Keanu Reeves.
Excellent. It's delightful.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because I feel like a lot of like I think I really became aware of Keanu during on this podcast we've talked about the cycles of Keanu's career. There's the TED cycle.
Yeah.
There's the one cycle, which Jake coined it. I don't know why it's not the Neo cycle.
Did I coin it the one cycle?
Yes,
well,
you did.
He's John, Ted, and one. Those are his three most famous roles. I think there was just something funny about saying one.
It was for comedy.
It's monosyllabic. It's keeping the syllables.
Yeah.
So I think for a lot of us, it was the one cycle, that middle part of his career where we really became aware of him.
Right.
But for you were there from the TED cycle,
Right, yeah.
when he was best known as being the like goofy dumb guy.
No, I remember very vaguely, but I do remember when The Matrix was coming out, and it's like, what, Ted? Theodore Logan?
Yeah.
Like, he's the one that's going to be this badass superhero guy? Doesn't he go like, whoa?
Yeah.
Well,
He
does. He does that.
No,
in the Matrix.
I know he does that, but it's like, I'm used to like, fair maiden on yonder window. Like, I remember that. Like, and it's like, there's no way that he can be like, I know kung fu, and then he did. So
Yeah.
Then he did know.
So
Kung
you
Fu.
then
He
saw
beat the shit out of Morpheus.
Yeah.
I think. In that scene.
Well, he doesn't really.
No,
I have
know.
foggy
The
memory of
shit
that
out of
scene.
War.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Doesn't he kick the ass of everybody on the Nebuchadnezzar? just
goes
like
through.
thoroughly, just like freaking lays out and just knocks everybody to the
Okay,
floor.
well, here's a question that I've been wondering for a while. So I thought of this while I was working on that way too long video about the Matrix sequels.
Right.
And no one really gave me... I asked it on Twitter, and I got a lot of different answers, but none really definitive. Here's what I wonder about. In the world of the Matrix...
Yeah.
By the way, we will get to the Matrix movies. We'll get there. I'm skipping ahead here. But
Yeah, we'll get another decade.
they can download skills into their brains.
Right.
So they can learn how to do these things.
Yeah.
When they're in the real world, does he still know how to do kung fu? Can he still... I mean, he doesn't have like his muscles aren't built up. He doesn't have necessarily like the physical strength, but... Could he still, for instance, like download a program for like how to fix an engine and then in the real world be able to fix an
this is
engine?
a classic
I would
like
say yes.
lunch table nerd conversation.
Or could
Yeah.
he download a program on just like, could anybody have just been like, computer, download a program on how to be the one?
Right.
And then just he would be the one earlier in the movie.
Well, that's essentially what happened.
Yeah, and using the film's own content, like he says, like, I know kung fu in the real world, so he's aware of it. I don't think that like he probably have to train to get his muscles up there, but he knows how to use kung fu.
Right. It is just interesting that like in the sequels, that there's the one part where he kind of fights in Revolutions. He fights Bane, who has been possessed by Smith, but he doesn't really seem to have any like fighting skills.
Right.
And I do think like, shouldn't he, be able to like at least, and
Throw a solid punch.
and he's been around for a little bit, so his muscles aren't as like weak and like unformed as they are
When he's in the slime pod.
Exactly.
Yeah.
when he's like, "What are my eyes?"
Now
hurt?"
there's some
because
gun-
he's never
there's
used
some-
them before.
That
Yeah.
line still blows my mind.
Yeah,
Like, it's like you never use them for like, what?
it's great.
way.
Great movie.
It's a
but
slime pod.
but it's the thing I just wonder about. Like, could he like at least like take someone down using some like judo in the real world?
I would say yes.
Probably.
Yeah, I think you're
Lana
evidence is
Wachowski,
strong. He says
come
that he
on,
knows
come
in
on
the
the
real world.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
The education system in
We can get
Zion
Lana
is
Wachowski,
very
right?
strange because there's no need for teachers.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just download all of your knowledge.
Okay,
Assuming that only a certain generation, because children born in Zion probably
Right.
wouldn't have any connections.
yeah. So
yeah.
Tank and
Oh,
Dozer
yeah.
can
They
never
have
know
to-
this
yeah.
stuff.
I would be jealous if I was a kid born without a little port in the back of my neck, and then all my parents are just like, "Oh shit, I want to know this," and they just stick this thing in the back of their head. And
Yeah.
they're like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, like, you guys
And you're
get to
like,
jack
"Fuck."
in? Why can't
and you're
I
like, "Can I
jack
jack in?" And they're like, "No, you don't have. Here's a book, you idiot." And I have to like sit there for hours
You're
and
like,
read
"This
it.
sucks."
And I still don't retain most of the.
But also, you get an actual childhood while everyone else doesn't.
I mean,
Yeah.
childhood.
Right.
In
Yeah,
quotes.
in a
I'm making the
cave.
quote marks here.
hey,
and you're
have you
just-
seen the parties in Zion?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
when
that's
you're
not
a kid,
a childhood party.
yeah, when you're a kid, your parents are like, "Hey, we left you with the babysitter. We're gonna go have a
rave orgy?
a rave orgy."
Yeah.
finger each other's jack holes and have a rage orgy.
And you're just sitting at home with your Zion babysitter, who you have a little bit of a crush on,
I want to hear that
and you want to
story.
show her your favorite blanket.
And she just tells you stories from the non-existent movies that she watched while in the Matrix.
Yeah, she's like, I watched Bill and Ted.
I played Crash Bandicoot. He's like, what the fuck?
It isn't real, but it felt real. Wait,
Yeah.
I love that Naughty Dog exists in the Matrix, and just like you can play Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. That's how like fine-tuned and perfect
because
this
the
code
Matrix
was.
is the world as it existed near the end of the 20th century.
Yeah.
Therefore, those would exist.
Yeah.
But we'll get to the Matrix in like I don't know.
Sorry, we're
Yeah,
just-
sorry.
In like
yeah.
20 episodes.
Yeah.
Adam, so I want to ask you, so you were introduced to Keanu via Bill and Ted.
Yes.
And so tell me about like your experience with Keanu. What was your opinion on him early on? Did it change over time?
It definitely changed. I mean, early on, it was just like, here's this like guy who plays a buffoon, and he's like he's good at being an idiot, you know, and that was really a lot of fun. And then it was the Matrix, and it's like, oh my god, this is so badass.
What about Speed?
Speed again, but like that was the beginning of like the sort of transition phase of like, oh wow, like Ted is this badass cop guy who's fighting,
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper, yeah, who's fighting a bus. And then like it was the Matrix was sort of like this revolutionary thing, and then he kind of, I think, and you've mentioned this over the course of the series, that people just kind of saw him as very limited because there's Dracula, there was all those other movies that he's done. You're like, there's only like really like two speeds
Yep.
of Keanu Reeves. Like there's only two speeds of like, like idiot
Literally.
and then like kind of badass. And you kind of go through those. Yeah. And that was it. And like, I think it really was recently with the John Wick series that gave me a new appreciation of him.
You and most people.
And most people, it's like,
Yeah, you're in good company.
yeah, and I think like this Keanu science that we're going through kind of makes you look back, and you guys have talked about it throughout the podcast, where you gain a new appreciation for someone who understands his limits, who understands what he's good at, what he's not good at, but also willing to sort of like try to reach outside it and realize like, yeah, that's not my thing. I'll not do that again. And you don't have a lot of actors who have that sort of
Self-awareness.
self-awareness. Thank you. Yeah.
But I mean, also, he was so young when he started. So, we were comparing him to Josh Hartnett and how he was just kind of like, whoops, touched my pig ear. He was kind of shoved into, I don't know how like much volition or like agency he had like early on. But he's clearly just in a ton of stuff and they're seeing what sticks. And I'm really excited about just the 90s because and even the early aughts, because there are still some like just bizarre, he still made bizarre choices that I think most people would describe
Little
as
Buddha.
not
Little
working.
Buddha.
Yeah,
or
that's
like
gonna be a trip. when we
not
finally
the
get
kind
there.
of thing that seems like he is fully like, I'm just doing these things based on the limits that I understand.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
no, occasionally he still comes about in rom-coms and shit. It's very funny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was that one recently that I watched with Winona Ryder. I forget the name of
Destination
it.
Wedding.
Destination Wedding. That
Wedding,
was
yeah.
actually, I know we're jumping way ahead.
Yeah, we'll cover that
almost to present
next
day.
year.
Yeah, that was a impressive movie that like I watched it with my girlfriend. We both were surprised by how much we liked it.
It's
and,
funny.
and it's
It's a
funny,
funny movie.
and they're really good in it. And it's basically a two-hander, which you don't see anymore.
No one else in the movie speaks.
Yeah.
It's just them.
Yeah.
But we'll get
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
in
Sounds like
a
Waiting
while.
for Godot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really is. It's like the modern film Waiting for Godot.
Yeah.
But, the episode isn't out yet when we're recording this, but like we recently covered Tune In Tomorrow, which is the first instance of him like attempting an accent that he like fundamentally can't do.
Right.
And it's like, that's like, trying a new thing that doesn't really work. And, that, which is a thing that will happen sort of through the 90s.
If that movie had somehow become wildly popular, it would be the Bram Stoker's Dracula that people hold up as like the perfect example
Right.
of Keanu having all these limitations for
Yeah.
what he's able to do.
Yeah.
But the thing is, nobody saw Tune In Tomorrow.
Exactly. No one saw it. And but here, watch this pivot. Here he's returning to something that everyone knows he can do.
and
that he
loves
can-
him for.
Yeah, this is his first sequel.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is returning to, again, as we've said, the three cycles of his career are defined by these three roles he's played multiple times. And yeah, this is him returning to his most iconic role.
Yeah.
He's Ted again. But now he's also playing multiple Teds.
Yeah.
He was, I guess, Well, I mean, he's
There were
playing.
multiple Teds in Bill and Ted's Excellent
They
Adventure.
were, but they were also the same Ted. It's,
Yeah.
it's the same. It's the same Ted from different points in the timeline.
Yeah.
Here, there is evil Ted.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Evil
This
Ted
is such a good sequel.
Yeah, this sequel is so silly. I love it.
It's so weird.
It made me
yeah.
excited for the third one now. I'm
Yeah.
like, because they really upped the ante for the second one. And
They really.
there really is nowhere that they can't go.
Because
It's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
I mean, I like a lot about this movie, but watching it because I've seen Excellent Adventure so many times. I had seen Bogus Journey once before,
Okay.
like years
Yeah.
ago. So I put this on and I was like, I remember so little of this. I remember Evil Bill and Ted kill them in the desert in the Star Trek place,
Right, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I remember some of this stuff with death, but I was like, I forgot about the Battle of the Bands and all that.
Yeah.
But what I appreciate about this is that so many sequels, especially like comedy sequels, they'll do a Ghostbusters 2. They'll do a Hangover 2. They'll do a thing where
Yeah.
it's like, great, let's do the same thing again. We'll basically reset the status quo and do the same thing again.
Yeah.
And this was a movie where, again, Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon, the writers who have also written the upcoming third one, they were like, no, we're going to do something totally different.
Right.
We will have time travel, but it will not be about, going through history. It will have a totally different premise. It will explore, like, religion and existence,
Yeah.
and will be a lot more sort of supernatural.
Yeah.
It just goes in a totally different direction.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, the best kind of sequel.
Yeah, it really,
Yeah.
really opens it up.
Well,
'cause-
they're like improv guys, so they like yes-anded their own some of the like potentials that they set up, while also like just blowing open completely new ways that the two dudes can like. Yeah, to just go to heaven and hell was
Right.
great.
yeah,
Well,
the
like,
spirit world.
The hell sequence was so great.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, the whole, like, we talked about this in the Excellent Adventure episode, but Bill and Ted began as just these two characters that they would just do it at improv shows and
Yeah.
just, like, answer questions from the audience.
Yeah.
So that, like, the foundation, like, Excellent Adventure, like, the characters came first and then the story from there.
Right.
And so it's really just like, you can take these characters and put them in, like, anything.
Yeah,
Because they
they-
will always be open to new experiences and excited.
Yeah.
And so it's like, great, we had them like travel through time. Where do we go from there? Okay, we basically have them on like a spiritual quest
Yeah,
through heaven and hell.
Well, did you guys listen to the commentary at all?
No, I didn't have time.
No, I was
so
yes, I beat Patrick at something.
I was,
you win.
yes.
Yeah.
Confetti is dropping down from the ceiling.
but I can turn off your microphone.
I can talk very loudly.
It's evil Pat.
Petty Pat.
He's
Petty
a robot.
Pat.
Petty Pat.
No,
He's still a robot.
What was interesting was like they talk. I listened to the writer's commentary because it's for my mind that's the one that's always more interesting.
I listen.
Yeah.
See, on our Excellent Adventure episode, I listened to it, and I'd always be like, well, the writer said this one thing on the commentary, and I just didn't have time this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. No,
It's
we
all good. He won.
Yeah, you won. You won that episode. Now you lost. How does that feel? It feels terrible, doesn't it? All right.
So
Yeah.
I don't like losing.
No, so one thing they talk about is like the original version of this movie
Yeah.
was them traveling through fiction, and they were like, and it would have been, and that apparently was the original version of Excellent Adventure was like them traveling through fiction of like well, the first movie is going to be time travel because it's a history class. Now the next one would naturally be an English class. So like, and they have to go into like fiction, like Sense and Sensibility or Pride and Prejudice or something like that.
Honestly, sounds great.
It sounds great, but like they said to themselves, like, well, let's not do that. Let's do something different, and that's the reason why both Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves signed back on, is because this film was so different.
Wait, so are you saying that it could have just been the Page Master?
It could have been basically the Page Master.
It's like Wishbone and the Page
no.
Master
yeah,
mixed
it could
together.
have been basically that.
What's the,
The
story?
Page, it's okay. The
Bill
Page
and Ted?
Master.
Yeah.
Page Master ended up filling
Which
that void.
apparently was they did.
Totally.
Didn't they do that in the TV show for a while? They did go into fiction.
We
haven't seen the TV show.
covered it yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember you
We
guys
will.
mentioned it.
We
But
will.
they do,
Yeah.
because that's what Griffin was telling us. Was
Yeah.
like that they go into like a Shakespeare.
They wishbone it.
Yeah, they wishbone it for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, they tried to do something different. But what's also really interesting is that both the writers were like, we were in a dark place. Like their friendship had broken up a bit,
Whoa.
and they were like trying very like. the writing process helped heal their friendship because it was like,
oh my god.
This movie doesn't feel like it healed a friendship or
know,
came from
yeah.
a dark place, but it's really funny to know that.
right, yeah, they were like,
wife
we're
passed
dealing
away
with
from
like,
cancer,
we talk about how
and-
like we're dealing with death and
Yeah.
how we're like dealing with like the afterlife. And,
Also,
like,
they were so young.
they were really young, but what they talked about
How
how
young was Ed Solomon at the time?
oh, I don't know. I mean,
But I think they wrote the
Matheson.
first movie
Yeah.
when they were like 25.
right.
Wow.
And they were like,
shit.
the first one was written like over a long period of time that they, did for fun and they did it as friends. And then all of a sudden they became like these big names and
Yeah.
they were getting meetings like Steven Spielberg and the like. And they're like, it took them into a very stressful and darker place and it strained their friendship. And the reason why they worked on this film together was because they're like, well, we don't want someone else to do this because they might fuck it up.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like, so they did some weird stuff. And what's interesting, like they're harder on the movie than I think we're going to be.
We're
But
bringing the team back together to
Yeah.
patch our friendship
Yeah.
in a way that it's never been before.
Yeah.
One last job.
one last job.
It was
I
the
like
same
the
thing in
idea.
the commentary for the first movie.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, the mall scene. I'm
Yeah.
like, I love the mall scene.
Yeah.
What are you guys talking about? But it's also interesting that they came back for this one and were like,
Yeah.
we want to do it because, so no one else will. Because I did this video about Men in Black earlier this year,
Yeah.
which Ed Solomon wrote. And
Right.
it's like a perfect screenplay. And he didn't write any of the sequels.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I would kill to just have like, another Men in Black movie written by Ed Solomon
Yeah.
because no one else got it the way he did.
Solomon is always pretty down on himself. I feel like I saw a tweet from him recently where he's like, my career's been a failure. Just saying it. He's like,
Right.
I love my career, but it's been a failure.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, geez, dude. Like,
But I love guys.
You made a bunch of great movies. Don't worry
I
about
love
it.
dudes like that. Like that.
Yeah.
Like only I hate some like guy with sunglasses who's like, I make hits, I
Yeah.
make dope shit. like
Of course,
you mean
every
Max
time
Landis?
yeah,
time I
exactly,
finish
like
a-
fucking Max Landis. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Who also has not made hits.
no,
Yeah.
but he
he's
thinks they do. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah,
no,
dude,
exactly.
Bright is
Well-
a masterpiece.
Well, because like I saw Ed Solomon in person when he was a guest on the George Lucas talk show, and
Yeah.
he doesn't seem like really down on himself. He actually seemed like a pretty just chill, friendly guy.
Well, when I
Cool.
say that he was like, my career's a failure, he said it in a joking way. He's like, I love my job, don't get me wrong, but he's like, I've never done anything like remotely noteworthy. Is really his whole point.
Yeah.
He was
Hard
like,
on
he was
their
like, I'm
work.
having a good time.
Yeah, but
I'm not
he's
like a depressed
very
person,
humble.
but like I don't think anything I've done has stood the test of time.
Yeah. Also,
And
by the
so,
way, I just want to say,
just very critical, man.
I had forgotten to do it before. I just ordered the collection of the Bill and Ted comic,
Nice.
so
nice.
it'll be here in 2 days.
I'm excited.
and
yeah.
I'm gonna read it, and I'll let you guys borrow
Ooh,
it.
let's
Yeah.
add. We should read it and then discuss it on the podcast and add like a little crackling fireplace sound effect to the background, like we're doing a fire.
And there's nothing like reading a comic
Little
book out
fireplace
loud.
reading.
Yeah.
Nothing like just describing a visual medium.
panel 2.
Yeah. Well, you have to do, like
You're just
obviously one of you
Ted's doing
guys
funny.
that needs to be like the narrator.
Yeah.
One of you has to be Bill. One of you has to be Ted.
I'm the narrator.
Yeah.
I'll be the fireplace.
Yeah.
Matt has to be Ted
Yeah.
I'll be
because
Ted.
the New York Times once said that you resemble Mr. Reeves.
Do you guys mention that every episode? Is that like in the contract?
It is in the contract because
Yeah.
Matt's
Yeah.
very vain,
Yeah, I've noticed.
Exactly.
and he did make us sign a lot of paperwork.
We have to make him
Restarted this up
feel
again.
good about himself,
Yeah.
and it's like, remember, the New York Times said that you
You
look
can
kind of
put
like
the
Keanu
mirror
Reeves.
down, man. Put it down.
Yeah, stop making kisses faces at your self-reflection.
There's no bad angles.
All sides are good sides.
Wait, so we were talking about Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Sorry, Adam, you were saying about the writers in the commentary.
Oh, they're just like they're really hard in it, and I think it was weird is that they don't remember most of the movie. They talked about like and they
should be hard on something you
No,
don't
it was
remember.
actually more that they just the film came together very very quickly.
Yeah.
Like basically the first one they took a long time to write and sort of it took a long time to get made, and they were on set the entire time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of memories around it. Whereas with Bogus Journey, they're like, we're making this movie. It's going to be shot in January and come out in July or June. And they're like,
Shit.
that's insane. And then they were like, let's just do it because we want to do it. And we had to find the story. And they sort of rushed through it, but they weren't on set the entire time. And they had like pretty negative memories of it. They were just sort of like, this is not the movie that we really wanted. We're kind of disappointed in it. But they're like, watching it down, like, the first like 60 minutes works really well, and the last 25 kind of fall apart.
They don't like the last 25 minutes of the movie?
Yeah, and they sort of talk about it is partially because of Station and what.
They don't like Station?
Yeah, and the story about how Station came together.
Love Station.
Yeah, no, I do too, and it's like,
His
but also
butt.
I understand. Yeah, I understand their criticism. I think we'll talk about it more in when we get to that section of the movie, but like. The way Station came together was because they had this whole police station sequence that they wrote into the movie. And
Station,
then,
for anybody that hasn't seen
a
the
police
movie.
station sequence, right?
Like the first one?
Like the first one, yeah. Like there was this whole sequence in the police station that they
Yeah.
ultimately deleted. And what they then did was, because of a computer error, the only thing that remained was like this one station randomly in another section of the script. And they started sitting around going, station, 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 station. And like having whole conversations saying
Were
station.
they high?
Maybe.
These goons writing this script.
But then they said like, all right, well, I have to get Station into the movies
Yeah.
in some way. And that's where Station came from. And they're like, they look at the movie now like that might have been a mistake.
Yeah, we were laughing too hard and have immediate remorse for
Yeah.
adding like this very spontaneous, spur of the moment character.
I was super-
based on stupid voices we were doing.
Yeah.
in a room
I was
one
like,
time.
why is the alien's name Station?
Yeah, that's
I
why.
didn't get that.
I just
either.
like had that. Yeah, it just bothered me.
It
Yeah.
is funny. Yeah, that like right. I
Too
feel like,
inside baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's not even inside baseball. It's just an inside joke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
between
yeah.
two people and no one else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somehow made it into the movie.
That's one of the things that I like about this movie. That like they're in heaven, and there's like this one alien.
Yeah.
It's like all
Yeah.
people.
A Gestalt alien, let's be clear on that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's great because I loved that aspect of their depiction of heaven, which is that, of course, heaven in whatever fucked up world Bill and Ted live in contains interplanetary and interdimensional species, of course. Like,
Yep.
if everything is created by the Bill and Ted's world's god, then, of course, it's going to contain, like, all of the creatures of this weird multiverse that they live in.
And then also just like hot country club people.
Yeah,
with, like
yeah.
ripped dudes. And
Yeah.
like,
in pop-collared polo shirts.
yeah.
This is a movie where they really
And
like
a boxer.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
clearly
Yeah,
had
and a boxer, like a lot of boxers. There was
Yeah.
like,
There's two boxers. It's the same guy. But
right,
it's,
but
yeah.
it's like they only had like 10 extras, so
Yeah.
like it's just like the same people walking
I
around.
just I saw when I was rewatching it last night. I was like, oh yeah, like that boxer died in the ring.
Which boxers?
Like, he's like an actual boxer. Like
oh,
he-
yeah. He's
he-
wearing the gloves. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you look how you last looked in the moment you died. I guess.
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, everyone gets their cool heaven clothes.
Yeah.
That's true. You
And,
get like some.
I was into the future
Papa Fresh.
clothes from the very beginning.
yeah.
Okay, so we got to talk about that. But
Let's jump back to the beginning where
Yeah.
the future
Well, a
is.
thing, yeah. Well, a thing I just wanted to say is that this movie clearly had a budget that was it's like almost like 4 times what the first movie cost.
Yeah.
Because they go crazy with the design.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Like the first movie, it's like, all right, so we got New Mexico and Italy. What are the locations that we can make?
Yeah.
And it's like and you know, there aren't a lot of like. There's the one future room that you see
Yeah.
where with like the most important people in the world.
Yeah. Which apparently was a previously used set from Mom and Dad Save the World.
Yes.
Nice.
Mom and Dad saved the world with
No,
the
that's in Bogus Journey. I meant an
Bogus
excellent
Journey. Oh, yeah,
adventure.
right,
There's just
right,
that one
yeah.
room.
Right.
But that's all you see of the future.
Yeah.
Like there aren't a lot of elaborate sets, and this movie is in that classic like early like late 80s, early 90s style like crazy sets.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again,
What's the year in the future? It's like 2142 or something.
no, it's like
It's
24
23
or
or
something.
yeah.
It's further ahead.
yeah.
And Matt, you'll be happy to know that the production designer then became the production designer for Super Mario Brothers.
I was about to say that it seemed similar.
Yep.
All roads point to the Super Mario Bros. Movie where many careers were ended.
and Matt is
Killing
always
grounds.
Matt is always happy to
The fields were red with blood.
Yeah, the same production designer. 2 years later, production designer on Super Mario Brothers. That is David L. Snyder.
He's really proud of this movie, by the way. Like the special features,
Bogus?
like Bogus. He's like he loved it, like building the things. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about it. In
Yeah,
He's
there's
a
a-
great talent who made a bunch of great movies, including
Yeah.
Mario live action.
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
So let me read the first paragraph of the Wikipedia plot summary. The music of Bill and Ted's band, Wild Stallions, has created a utopian future society.
As was promised.
Chuck Denomalos,
Which is Ed Sullivan.
it's Ed Solomon backwards.
Yeah.
Who detests this society, steals one of the time-traveling phone booths and sends 2 robots modeled after Bill and Ted back to the late 20th century to prevent Bill and Ted from winning the San Dimas Battle of the Bands. Rufus attempts to stop Denomalos, but seemingly becomes lost in the circuits of time.
Yep.
So that is the beginning.
I like that Ed
Yeah.
Solomon backwards is a Greek last name.
I know.
Denomalos. It's
Denomalos.
really cool.
Okay, very important thing. We have to talk about the actor who plays Denomalos.
who hated this movie apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay, here's the thing.
I just want money.
Yeah.
I just want money
So the actor
for my house.
It's Joss Ackland, who is still alive, born in
last name.
1928. But I had forgotten he was in this. and I was so happy to see him because he is. I wouldn't call him one of the great villains of all time, but he previously played a villain who has uttered one of the greatest lines in film history.
Who is he? What's
Do
he?
you all know what I'm talking about?
No, go on.
Lethal Weapon 2.
Okay. What's the
The
line?
climactic scene. He is like the evil like ambassador who behind everything from some European country, and he shouts at Danny Glover, "Diplomatic immunity."
Yes,
and then
yes.
Danny Glover shoots him in the head and goes, "It's just been revoked."
Yes. Okay.
Which,
yeah.
to me, is maybe the greatest finishing one-liner in film history.
Yeah.
And as soon as diplomatic immunity guy shows up in crazy future gear, honestly looking like some kind of like older General Zod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, and I love this whole future society because everyone is it is such a like 1991 insane like cartoon future.
Everybody has huge, thick felt rescue hero boots.
Yeah.
That they
Yeah.
just run around in.
They look
so soft and comfortable, but also so cumbersome.
It's all
Yeah.
like neon foam.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's all like it's actually
Everyone's wearing neon foam, but they're wearing like the backwards hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sunglasses.
It feels to me as if Bill and Ted themselves had just doodled like, "What would be cool future clothes?"
Yeah.
and just drew it all like without very good drawing skills, and then someone who like an actual like I guess person who can sew.
Seamstress.
Yeah. Then like
Thanks,
made
man.
a master seamstress.
Yeah.
Only reason I know that is because my girlfriend's a seamstress. So.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
But then, like an actual seamstress, like then and went and made those insane designs by
Yeah.
two idiots into real clothing.
Yeah.
Well, what always frustrates about me those designs, like whenever you see a close up, like you can still see where it was cut. And
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's really roughly cut. You're like, they had a little time to make this, and they're like, it's fine. No one's gonna notice it.
Yeah.
And
So was
action.
this movie like
Yeah.
rushed? Is that partially why people were having such a bad time with it? It was
I mean,
just stressful. Like,
I don't know if the production was rushed, but the edit was definitely rushed.
Gotcha.
And they were like, basically, as they were shooting, they were editing, and as they like, and that's why you can kind of get the feeling of the movie is sort of like undone, like unfinished for that matter.
Is this like the first movie which at one point there was like a 2 hour and 20-minute cut because it could just run forever? Like since it's
I don't-
based off of an improv idea,
Yeah.
essentially.
I
it's
don't
like you can
think
just do
so.
set pieces where they kind of riff.
You
Yeah.
could, but also like it's pretty tightly constructed.
Yeah.
Like it is. There's a lot of plot in this movie.
Yeah.
And even more so than I think Excellent Adventure. Excellent Adventure
Yeah.
is just kind of like, we'll go here, and then we'll go here,
I
and
kind
then
of-
this will be
yeah.
a montage, and this seems a bit more like. Because, it's cutting back and forth between, like, stuff happening on Earth and stuff happening with them, and everything they do kind of, like, you could arrange a lot of the Excellent Adventure scenes from, like, various historical time periods in almost any order.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Other than, like, like, what characters are there.
Right.
But this is a lot more like, okay, so, like, they die, and then they have to become ghosts and learn
Yep.
this, and then encounter death and do this. And,
that's so funny.
and, like, it all leads from one thing to another. And I again, this is pure speculation, but I'm assuming that there isn't a much longer cut. I think
Yeah.
this has to be like pretty scripted.
I kind of
Well,
wished it was
there-
longer because I loved
Yeah.
like essentially the setups for each scene. Like everything always made me want them to stay there just like
Yeah.
another 5 minutes or
Yeah.
something. Like I love the the seance in the living room and then going straight
Yeah.
to hell and being in hell and like encountering their weird personal demons
Yeah.
which were so funny to
Yeah.
me.
Which
And
actually were
playing
going to pay
games
off
with
in the
that.
end. Actually,
I did see this as
Yeah.
well. Just the things where they each encounter like their fear
Yeah.
in hell, like the like steal. Was it like Ted stole his brother's Easter candy?
And it was the Easter bunny, robotic Easter bunny.
Yeah, and Bill didn't want to kiss his weird
grandmother,
grandma. And then at the end,
old.
and apparently,
Yeah,
apparently, like during the, oh my god,
someone's dying.
all right,
This
all
happens
right.
a- this-
No,
this
just
really
stop
does happen a
acknowledging it.
lot.
The streets are running red with blood.
Yeah.
exactly.
We're actually recording this in 1970s New York. I don't know if anyone realizes that. We go back in time and where everyone was terrifying.
So the
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix Joker is running amok through the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
yeah.
That's Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. the old walker.
Yeah.
Joe Keane.
And Todd Phillips saying really uncomfortable things about the movie. Just shut up, Todd Phillips.
Todd Phillips.
Is he eating his own shoe right now? Talking about this movie?
Kind of,
Does
yeah.
he say weird stuff?
Putting his foot in his mouth?
He blamed, was it far left people for the outrage over the... He's there are reasons for why Warner Brothers is canceling a lot of interviews on the press tour for this movie. Anyway, can't wait to see it on Friday.
I'm seeing it Saturday. I look forward to seeing it and never talking about it online.
Hashtag Jake's going to Joker.
So this
We're
isn't
gonna
one
go
of
see
your
it.
guys' online beefs.
No.
No.
It's actually really funny. We don't have real beef. It's mostly, I mean,
wanted to
it's real.
squash
No.
beef.
It's totally real. We
Yeah.
don't like each other.
No,
At all.
Exactly. And I like telling you to stop talking about Star Wars.
What's Star Wars?
Let me tell you. It's I realized, okay,
People play jizz music in it. Yeah, it's a dirty movie, and people who watch it, their minds are sullied.
Yeah, Wookiee.
soiled. Yeah, Wookiee.
Don't
I
even
did
get
it
me
all
start-
for the Wookiee.
I did it all
Come
for the
on,
Wookiee.
So you can take that
That
cookie.
jizz.
So you can take that jizz. I don't know.
and just play it.
Don't finish it.
Okay,
It's a dirty movie made by a dirty
and
man.
we'll never speak about Star Wars again.
Yeah.
Ew.
The Force.
Yeah, we all know what the Force is.
The Wookiee. The Wookiee.
Oh, you're gonna do a
So you can play that Wookiee.
You're turning it into a thing that someone could actually make.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't want to hear this.
Princess
Yeah.
Leia.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, think about it. Luke
Lay.
Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker. Anyways.
So what were we saying about?
Let's just talk about.
no. I remember.
Oh yeah, now I know where
Yes.
the demons.
The payoff at the end, they were going to have this part where at the Battle of the Bands, in order to they had to finally face each of their fears from hell. Bill has to kiss his grandmother. Ted has to apologize to his brother. And in order to they get sucked into hell again, and they have to overcome these and grow to become better and then return.
Oh, I think
Got it.
they also
Why
were-
did that get removed from the movie?
I think it was just.
Was it shot?
I think some of it was shot. There's a scene where Bill's grandmother is clawing at the top of their van, and you can see claw marks on the van apparently.
Whoa!
So,
cool.
That's actually awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and apparently the original version of the ending. No, let's get to when we're talking about the ending.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, at the beginning, so you have this whole scene where it begins with, was it Bill and Ted University?
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
these-
San Dimas, the future San Dimas.
Yeah.
They have these big Greek-style statues of Bill and Ted doing the classic pose with one hand on their chest and the other arm out.
Yeah.
Which is just a great pose.
Yeah.
It is.
And then you have Rufus, good old Rufus, but now wearing new future clothing.
Yeah.
Teaching a class, and it's great because it seems like Bill and Ted again, just Bill and Ted's way of doing things has dictated how people live in the future.
Yeah.
And now the way Bill and Ted did their history project by getting historical figures to come and talk
is how all of education works, apparently.
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
people from the past are now aggressively dragged into the future.
abducted and
they seem at this point it's become so commonplace though. Beethoven's this is my 25th time here.
Yeah.
And he's yep,
as
teaching
guest
another
lecturer.
excuse me,
I'm an
it's-
adjunct professor.
it's
24.
Johann Sebastian Bach.
Right.
Sorry, Bach.
Bach.
All right.
Yeah,
It's Bach.
I do have to
Whatever.
say,
Wolfgang.
they've got
Vincent
they've got Johann Sebastian Bach.
Yeah.
Then they've got the dude from
Faith No More.
Yeah. See, what I thought they were totally setting up was so we have Johann Sebastian Bach and then we have Sebastian Bach.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's not the joke that they did.
No.
No.
And then they have this woman who's a future musician.
Right.
Yeah.
I love Faith No More because there's a Primus makes a quick little appearance in this
Yeah.
movie as well.
Spoilers, but Primus gets trounced in the Battle of the Bands.
Yeah, they get beat by the Stallions, but I think Faith No More's music is also playing in the background in a couple scenes.
Yeah.
It's it's pretty cool endorsement. Those are awesome.
Those are
early
very, very-
'90s LA bands.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
They talk about Megadeth at one point.
yeah.
Yeah, kind of underground at the time, I think, right? So
A little
or maybe
weirder, yeah.
mainstream, but mainstream in their niche.
I mean, I think
audience.
Faith No More still had that whatever the you want it all, but you
Yeah.
can't.
But
What is
it's
that
cool
song?
because
I've
you
never
could-
known what that song is called.
You could tell that the members of Faith No More and
What is
Primus
it?
were fans of the original Bill
Yeah.
and Ted.
Yeah.
And just were this movie's hilarious. Guys want to do a cameo for this? And it's hell yeah.
But it's
Let's just
also
jump
interesting
in.
because the first movie they most talk about Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
And also Steve Vai plays all the guitar stuff.
Yes,
for them.
Steve fucking Vai.
Steve,
Laser
please-
fingered Vi.
Please put lasers on my fingers and put a bunch of industrial fans in front of me while I play, so my hair can blow.
I will say, like, the one my head canon on this is that, like, fashion in the future moves really quickly. Like, what it's like 5 years, like, time has passed between the beginning of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey.
They dress totally differently.
They dress totally differently. I just feel like it's constantly changing because they're moving through time all the time. Like, oh, well, what about this now? I'm like, all right, why not?
Keanu Reeves' hair is like shorter at the beginning and then somehow gets longer by the end of the movie. Even though I think it's only set over the course of 2 hours.
Journey.
Yeah, okay, you're right. The journey's a long journey.
Bogus is
months.
good. Heinous is good. Bogus is bad, right?
No. Heinous is bad. Non-heinous is bad. No, heinous is bad. Non-heinous is good. Non-heinous
is also bad.
Because
is
there's
good.
one part where Bill's like non-heinous.
Yeah, apparently they counted that up. And
That's good.
Yeah, they have like they're like was it like quintuple negatives?
Yeah, that's smart.
Non-heinous.
Yeah. Okay. So wait.
Yeah.
So Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure opens in the year 2688.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I'm trying to find. Okay. And Bogus Journey begins. Ah, shit. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm on like not just Wikipedia, but like the special Bill and Ted wiki.
Right.
But wait, what year does it begin in?
I feel like
Yeah, it doesn't say on Wikipedia.
I'm curious
You said
about
like 24 something, no?
it was like I thought it was 26, but it could
Ed
be 24.
What's the guy's name? Ed Sopolis?
Ed Solomon?
No,
Dinopolis.
Dinopolis.
Denomalos.
the evil guy.
It's Solomon
Yeah,
backwards.
sorry. Excellent Adventure is 2688. So I'm gonna Matt, keep talking. I'm gonna find out what year Bogus Journey begins in.
Well, you know how like there's like arguments to be made about like the dark side and Jedis. There's like just two kind of just warring but still like overbearing fascistic forces that like determine the billions of other like life forms sort of like course of action.
Oh,
All right,
Bogus Journey begins in 2691.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. So it's like it's analogous to where you are.
5 years.
But apparently it's set in 90. The present day stuff is actually set in 93.
That's random.
As opposed, like 2 years ahead of when it came out. Maybe that's because they wanted to age up Bill and Ted a little bit. Because, you know...
They drink beer in this one.
What?
They drink beer.
yeah,
they do.
Yeah. They have an apartment.
Yeah, they're now like out of... Not just like a year out of high school. I think that they're like, let's have them like more years out of high school.
Yeah.
Because they also like have, spoilers, kids at the end.
Yeah.
And an apartment together. They just live, the two of them in an apartment. They have their girlfriends.
Right.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
girlfriends one thing that I found very
They're the babes
endearing-
from the original movie, we should say.
no,
that.
they're not. They're both recast.
They were recast in
Well,
this
but
one.
they're playing the babes from the original movie.
But I will say this, like, what was really endearing for both Bill and Ted, and it's sort of like, you guys talked about it on the Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure episode, but what's really endearing is that they're just good guys. Like, they've been in this relationship with these women for at least 4 or 5 years. They have not slept with them yet. They've not had sex.
Yes.
And you know what? Bill and Ted are like, maybe they'll sleep over with us when we get married.
Yeah.
And you're like...
They're most chaste.
And they totally respect that. And you're like, you don't... Like, for a movie that is about two idiots, essentially.
Yeah, right. From the early 90s.
From the early 90s, respecting, like, a woman's like, no, I'm going to be like, we're not having sex till we're married. And, like, being cool with it, you know, albeit frustrated.
Albeit with most heinous boners.
Yeah. Exactly.
Bleeding boners.
Most unmanaged boners.
Jake, bogus boners.
Yeah,
Bogus
sorry.
boners, yeah. I mean, come on, Jesus. Is this your first time here?
What's funny is it is my
You
first
use
time
some
here.
fucking alliteration, Jake.
But no, it's
It's
really
not. You can tell
endearing
it's not
that-
because Jake's so easy at blowing by it now.
Yeah, I just don't care anymore.
Not hearing criticism.
I just think it's just really
Dude, I
nice. Like,
rule.
they're like, yeah, like they respect their women, and
Right.
it's
And then that's, of course, contrasted when evil Bill and Ted show up,
Yeah.
and they're like, come on, put out.
yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
with
what's
their
the deal?
like pneumatic drill robo penises or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like pistoning in and out. It's so scary. The idea of
I
robo
never
Bill and Ted.
wanted-
You fully see their
Wow.
robot penises.
They're like literally trying to throw themselves at these girls, and
Yeah.
it's just terrifying, the thought.
Yeah.
Because they throw back those beer cans.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sound effect moments in the movie, when Robo Bill and Ted show up, and they're like, oh, let's have a little beer with regular Bill and Ted. And then they get up to go and hurl their beer cans back, and the sound effect is just like this. You hear like the can like smash against
Yeah.
the side of the wall as they whip it back.
They're so strong.
They're so strong. They're like robots or something.
It's like robots or something.
Well, before we
Check that
get
out.
on Speed Beyond the Party, though, like
Yeah.
what's important about a big change that happens in this
Yeah.
is that Missy is now married to Ted's dad.
Yes.
So funny.
And oh my god, I feel so bad for Bill's dad. He's
Yeah.
like so
Eating
clearly
a
in the,
Twinkie.
just in a trough of depression.
Does he
just-
even speak, or is he just in that one shot?
He can't
where
even
he's
muster
sad?
up. He's just like,
Yeah, he's just drinking. I think in the corner of a
he's
room.
eating a Twinkie.
yeah.
Even sadder.
Yeah, even sadder, like just hammering Twinkies. But so according to the commentary, Missy, obviously we know is going to be back in number 3.
Yeah.
And I'm putting, based on the things they said in the commentary, she's going to be married to another person part of the inner circle of Bill and Ted. I'm putting $5 down
Oh, interesting. Okay.
that it's going to be Ted's brother.
Deacon.
That would be so fucking funny. I think that's the best. That's the best idea I've heard.
almost-
Someone's just heard this idea right now.
Yeah. Wait.
We love a
don't-
little incest, so
Isn't there a line
do-
in this
we do like
movie
little incest.
about like, oh, is she going to be married to like maybe she'll get married to like implying that she'll marry someone else?
Yeah, she'll marry like Ted next or so, Bill next or something.
Yeah.
But like I don't like Bill and Ted they're gonna stay married. I think that's like
Right.
the big and that's also why they're recast in the third one because we recast them in the second one, so we have to keep it consistent.
I know.
Right.
So
I was a little bummed. Well, so like in Excellent Adventure, I like that one of the babes is Diane Franklin, who from Better Off Dead.
Right.
You
Yes.
know the cute French girl in Better Off Dead, and I was like, oh, she's in. I had forgotten she was in Excellent Adventure.
Yeah.
And because like I like her in Better Off Dead, and I was like, why isn't she in more things? And then I was like, oh, she's not in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't care about this movie apparently.
Or they just care about her. It does seem like
Vice versa, yeah.
I'm actually assuming that she probably turned it down because almost everyone returns.
Yeah.
It really seems like the offer was extended to everyone to return.
Yeah.
Like the original director, Stephen Herrick, he turned it down.
Yeah.
And by the way, we haven't mentioned it yet. Peter Hewitt directed this. It was his first film. We'll talk
Good on you, Peter
more
Hewitt.
about Peter Hewitt.
But apparently like even the writers were like, why did they recast them? We don't know why they didn't bring them back. So it could have been just like someone's like, oh, just get new girls.
So in this case,
just
for
some
Bogus
shitty,
Journey,
like, girls
it
are
wa-
girls. Just
Yeah.
get some more
wasn't-
girls.
It wasn't the case that the original actresses were like, no.
Yeah, I
Don't
mean,
wanna do
we
it.
don't know.
We don't know.
But I
Yeah.
just know that the writers were like, we don't know why they didn't recast them. So
Solomon's mystery to
Yeah.
Solomon and Matheson. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that said, there's Adam, do you have the Shout Factory
Yeah, I do.
Blu-rays?
Yeah.
Okay, I watched the whole documentary about Excellent Adventure.
I started watching the documentary with Bogus Journey, but
Okay,
then,
and I haven't. I not only didn't have time to watch or to listen to the commentary, I did not have time to watch the documentary.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if they say anything about it in the commentary track or in the documentary.
Not in the documentary that I saw, at least because I watched about the first like 30 minutes out of 52. But like they do talk about like they brought everyone back for the most part. I mean, obviously both Bill and Ted's fathers are back. Missy's back. Everyone like you could think of is back. But
Thank
like
God everyone's alive.
yeah.
That's what I always worry about with stuff like
Yeah,
this.
that was like my feeling when The Force Awakens came out. I'm like, wow, we got lucky.
Squeaker.
Yeah, squeaker on that one.
Damn.
But yeah, no, I'm really happy that like they're bringing everyone back. And
Same thing with
Yeah.
Twin Peaks.
And
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
I'm so excited for like
Yeah.
the third one
Yeah.
now because William Sadler as Death is back.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
I know. Death.
We'll get to him. Like he's my favorite part of the movie.
We'll get to him
Yeah.
momentarily.
I mean,
he's close.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah,
As death always is.
Yeah.
As one icy hand is always hovering over your shoulder, like an
Yeah.
awkward boy at a dance, getting his picture taken with a date that sort of didn't want to go with him.
We don't want to hear about your high school life, okay?
Homecoming 2006 again.
hover hand.
But well, hey, Keanu has taught the internet that for, when he poses in photos, like with like anytime Keanu poses in a photo with a woman, he always does the hover hand, and he doesn't like grab them
Because he's most chaste.
yes,
Yeah.
and so and there's a lot of talk on the internet about like, look, Keanu is like he's so respectful posing in photos, he keeps his hands off people,
Yeah.
and at a time I was like, he's a good dude, and I think we'll get through this whole podcast without any bad stuff coming out about Keanu.
Yeah. We
Well-
can hope he doesn't get canceled.
Well, he lives out here in New York, right? And
No, he lives in
He's
LA.
in LA, yeah.
Because I've seen stories of him like on the New York subway, and
Oh,
he's,
I've watched those videos.
the videos, and he's just
Yeah,
like sitting
yeah.
there, and he sees like a woman who's like carrying a bag or pregnant, and he's like, "Do you want to sit down?" And you're like, Keanu Reeves, you can see whatever the fuck you want, man.
Yeah, but
You
thank
don't
God he
have to
doesn't
take
feel
the
that way.
subway.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing is like you could take your town car, somewhere probably.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
are you doing? You're riding the one
What are you doing,
train?
bro? You swiped?
Yeah.
You swiped in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you spent that $275?
Yeah.
So Keanu, great guy.
Nice
great
guy,
guy.
apparently. Allegedly a nice
Keanu,
man.
come on the podcast.
Let's not...
Hey, you said it for me.
Hey, you know what would
Yeah.
be so funny though is if he did get canceled.
No, if I ever get to
And we
interview
just
him, I'm
have
going
to
to mention this
just,
podcast.
We
delete the whole podcast.
We just have so much evidence about us just being like, just gushing over this
Yeah.
man, and he's like, he would kill and eat children. and we're like, fuck.
Yeah,
Well, what
he
you
did
need
take
to
a
do is you
bloodbath
just need
once
to
a
do
week.
alternate takes of every episode. Just be
Yeah.
like, wow, Keanu's kind of a monster. And just have that there. That way, if someone says like,
Yeah.
wow, he's a monster, you're like, yo, we said it. We said it
and-
on
or-
episode like on
No.
his
What,
date.
what you can do
If-
with podcasts that you can't do with YouTube is you can replace the file online.
Do you work on YouTube?
I dabble.
Oh, okay.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit.
Well, he's
I
gonna
honestly-
break big some point.
If Josh or Keanu get canceled, I just say we delete all of the podcast.
It'll be
delete
it'll
it.
be hilarious. We could just say psych. We could just put in the word psych at the end of every episode.
I swear to God,
Just
we are
kidding.
playing it safe though, because both Josh and Keanu are notoriously nice men.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is good. Thank God.
That's there was this part in Jake. I know you saw it in like the recent Aziz Ansari special.
Yeah.
Where he talks about like, hey, there's a lot of recording material of me talking about how much fun this R. Kelly show was and how
know.
much I enjoy R. Kelly,
Yeah.
and that's just there forever.
Yeah, I can't find the original files, can't delete it, but we own this podcast and we can
Exactly.
destroy it.
I
if
can
we
take
so
it all
decide.
down. Anyway, we're still on the opening scene of the movie.
Yeah. So Denomalos creates the two robot Bill and Ted's to kill him.
His plan is like, even Rufus is like, dude, we know how this plays out. We travel through time. Like, there's no escaping your. This is what the
Despite time travel, it's still fixed.
Well, this was the
Yeah.
analogy I was making with like kind of shittily with like Star Wars, but more so just like
Kind of.
oh, we are having Twitter beef, so
Tis shittily.
It's a regular beef stew at this table.
yeah,
I love beef
right.
stew. Love me some fresh beef stew.
TM because I don't think anyone's ever said
Rice. Yeah.
that. Yeah, slow
yeah.
cooked the meat, so it's
Pouring spilling tea into the beef stew.
oh wow.
There we go. That would taste nasty.
How long do you like cook it for? Like an 8 hours, something like a low. Yeah.
11
low-
hours.
Let it simmer.
Yeah.
Let it simmer for an
Yeah.
Go
entire
do
day.
your errands.
Yeah.
while the
Clean the
beef
house.
is stewing.
So that way, like
All I'm saying is that like there is something like mildly heroic about that guy, the villain, because like he's annoyed that there's this world established on two dudes from the past, so many years ago. And he just wants to create a new world based on his beliefs, which we
Yeah.
never get to hear what they are. I mean,
This is
he uses
why-
military force, and he's
This
bad,
is
but-
why like he felt so much to me like a General Zod figure. Like
Right.
the whole thing with like Zod on Krypton before it explodes is like he's like a respected military leader who has like a different belief about how they should be doing things.
Yeah, he's like, I got
Or-
a take on this.
I'll make a real world analogy.
Yeah.
He is L. Ron Hubbard to Jesus.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard,
Right?
Sick and
Because
tired
he's
of
just
this
a
guy taking
phys
the
ed teacher. He's
limelight.
not a real military leader.
Right.
He's
oh yeah.
he just has delusions of grandeur.
Chuck Denomalos, my phys ed teacher.
Yeah, and he's he's a
I forgot how much I love that line.
he's a bald white guy who thinks he has all the answers, and I know I'm going to get sued by the Church of Scientology
Hey.
after this. But
They don't listen to this.
Hubbard
Yeah.
had hair.
Yeah. Did he?
Triple H, baby. Hubbard had hair.
Jake, you're back in my
Oh,
good graces with the
had
alliteration.
hair.
There you go.
Thank you.
You made up for that
I'm
blunder
rehired.
earlier, that bogus
God, I'm
blunder.
hanging by a thread on this fucking
Yeah.
thing.
Fuck me, dude.
So yeah, no, I think, but
And of, you're,
Yeah.
no, that's a good analogy.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if I understand it actually.
do you know what Scientology is? Don't look it up.
I know I love Scientology.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you wanna-
SP.
Yeah.
I'm not an SP. Shut
Yeah.
up, dude. No.
Yeah, you're a suppressive person.
No.
Yes.
I'm clear.
No,
Okay.
I'm clear.
I don't have any aliens anymore.
I have my own planet waiting for me when I die.
Yes. I
So you're
have
excited.
so many thetans. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I am filled to the brim with thetans, and we have
I'm
a
about to-
great time.
Oh
Busted.
god,
Yeah.
yeah. It's so fun to be just filled
So
to
Phil
bursting.
with thetans about to be skeeting these thetans.
Aww.
Nobody liked that one? Okay. Now I have to sit in that.
Jake,
You get in the stew too, and you sit in
I was
there.
so sure I'd get Matt to laugh at
we've
that.
said this before, but like, Jake, we gotta fire you from the podcast.
Yeah, no.
Like, enough is enough.
Come on,
Actually,
Steve
that's the
these
reason I'm
things, that's funny.
here.
Yeah.
Oh no! Yeah,
You're
he's like,
actually legal representation to them.
this is HR. He's gonna yeah.
Hi,
My name's not Adam.
My name's not Adam. It's actually John. I'm here from HR. We have some news for you.
Yeah, Pat, you have
Yeah.
an HR department now? Why didn't
Yeah.
you tell me this?
I'm big time, baby.
What do you think the H stands for? It stands for human resources.
It's for hog resources.
HR, human resources.
Henry resources or whatever.
My name's Henry Resources. That's a pretty decent gag.
This is a bad podcast.
What were we talking?
I'm having a great time.
Guys,
I don't care what anyone else
watch.
thinks about it.
I'm going to bring it all back on
Thank
topic.
you, as is your role.
So the L. Ron Hubbard analogy was
Yeah.
about how like there's this one religion that is like
Yeah.
the most common popular religion,
Right.
and then this is a new guy who's like, no, this is all bad. I'm going to start a new way of life.
I still love that, like, even though he hates them, he does the air guitar.
Yeah.
We'll never hear this again. I'm doing the wrong accent.
Like wiggly, wiggly,
Arnold
wiggly.
Schwarzenegger
Yeah.
said that sounded
We'll
like
never do this again.
But okay, what's great here is we get the introduction of
Yeah.
Evil Bill and Ted,
Right.
who
Yeah.
are great,
Right,
like,
yeah.
especially in this future environment because it's just Bill and Ted, but they are like insidious.
Yeah.
And they love showing that they're robots to everybody.
Yeah.
Like they love
Also-
ripping their body open constantly and pulling their face
Well,
off.
it's because they're shredded.
Yeah.
I
they
know.
have awesome abs.
Yeah.
They're basically Bill and Ted, except imagine if Bill and Ted. It's because the robots, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, play
Good job.
Robo
Good
Bill
reference
and
to
Ted
a thing we did off mic.
Yeah, Winter, no plurality, and so they
The joke is we actually just edited out the S when he just said that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
they act exactly like the regular human Bill and Ted do, except they can so quickly just like drop their dopey smiles and become completely dead-faced, which I always loved.
Apparently,
You know?
they loved playing those characters. Like that was the thing that really made them excited about the role. This
Yeah.
movie was like
Right.
playing evil Bill and Ted, and
Yeah.
they talk about it in the commentary and in the making of documentary. Like we just love playing them. It was great, you know. You're like, yeah,
Well, it's
I can
fun to
see
be a
that.
villain. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And Evil Bill and Ted have my favorite recurring gag, which is they keep trying to kill cats in the movie. Like
yeah.
when they first go fly back into the past to murder Bill and Ted, they see a cat as like the phone booth is plummeting to the ground. They're like, aim for the cat, aim for the cat. And then while they're driving to Bill and Ted's house, they see a cat and they're like, get the cat, get the cat. Like, there's at least 3 separate occasions where they try to and fail because it's a cute movie. You're not
Yeah.
going to murder a cat in this movie, but they are constantly trying to murder like a cute, fluffy little kitty.
I will say I found that so much funnier when I was a kid and
Yeah.
before I became a cat owner. Like now
Yeah.
that I have 2 cats, I'm like, dude, that's not funny. That's
Yeah.
not funny. You kill cats.
That's why they're evil.
I
Like,
know.
they're so evil,
I know.
too.
But like as a kid, I was like, cats are evil. And I just hit my mic.
And now you're, now you're a proud cat dad, and it's like
I'm a yeah.
Yeah.
Cat dad.
Yeah,
Well, I have
if you
cats.
follow me on any Instagram or whatever, it's just all my cats. Basically.
Don't
Yeah,
follow
so
him.
you're
don't
gonna
follow-
want you're gonna want to
not
not
worth
do
it.
that.
Don't follow me on Instagram.
Well, what I was going to say about Evil Bill and Ted, what
Yeah.
I like so much about them is they maintain the same enthusiasm
Yeah.
as regular
Good.
Bill and Ted. They're excited about everything, except they. Except they
You looked like a Fern Gully character.
yeah. I'm Dobby. You're a fern. Are you Batty?
Yeah, I'm batty.
You're one of the
Yeah.
one of the bully Fern Gully fairies on one of the Beatles. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. The teeth have.
There,
yeah.
there we go.
There we go.
And so, but like, they're just as enthusiastic
Yeah.
about everything the same way regular Bill and Ted are, except with, but they're just sadistic.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like no empathy and all sadism.
Yeah.
And it's like,
joie de mort.
Ooh, if you
know?
will.
Yeah.
ooh, wow, Matt, you just elevated this podcast.
I'm
Yeah.
a learned book reader.
Name one
Very
book
cool.
you've read.
The Firm by John Grisham. Everything by Dean Koontz, if you will.
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you ever heard of Ariel?
Well, welcome to Crazy for Coons.
Cuckoo for coots. Yo, there was a Dean Koontz book I read that like our grandparents had, and it was about this woman who, like, she's pregnant, and her boyfriend leaves her, and he's like a piece of shit. And as he's leaving, he's like, "I hope the baby's fucked up." And then she's like afraid that that's true, and
Like
then
that he put a hex on the baby?
yeah, somehow, and
Yeah.
then like she feels that it's so much stronger than a normal baby in her stomach, and it's born, and it like just runs away.
It just has jacked little runner's legs and it's ready to spread.
and it like comes back, like it stalks her and stuff, something like that.
That's
It was
fucked up.
weird.
Yeah.
I
That actually
didn't know
sounds
that's what
really-
Dean Koontz books were about.
He's
I don't think
basically
that's,
like
like,
the budget
it
Stephen
only.
King. You have to understand, like, there's Stephen King, and then there's like 5 levels, and then there's
Okay.
Dean Koontz.
Right.
See, here's the thing, though.
like
Dean
you-
Koontz, is he underrated?
I don't know. I mean, I
Potentially.
just never read him. Like, he's like the guy you found at like a Walgreens, like, you know, like in the little section of like
Just
a
standing there,
Walgreens.
the
like,
man himself. Just in a Walgreens.
hey, I'm
writing
Dean
his
Koontz.
book.
Have you ever read one
Yeah.
of my books?
Hey, I'm Dean Koontz.
I am Dean
Why do you
Koontz.
pick up one of my sweet novels?
I just feel like poor Dean
What's it
Koontz,
about?
He might be
It's about evil.
I'm a monster.
It's about a ghost. A what?
A what?
He can't write about ghosts because Stephen King already has that covered. So he has to do ghosts.
It's about
King
evil
has-
goose.
Yeah.
They go around and kill people.
I mean, there's that
Yeah.
Untitled Goose game that came out.
I need to
everyone
play that.
likes.
I need to
Yeah.
get a Switch. Sorry.
Yeah,
If
I
anyone's
need
listening
to
wants
get a
give me-
fucking Switch, dude.
Yeah,
I need to grow up.
Let's be real here.
P.O. Box 380333, Brooklyn, New York 11238. If anyone wants to send.
Holy shit, I forgot we could ask.
Us a Nintendo Switch.
Please.
We'll feel weird because that's so expensive, but also we won't turn it down.
won't
Yeah, we're not gonna say no. We're not gonna say no.
Yeah.
We will play it.
Also, please mark not for Jake on
Yeah.
the box.
Hey!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just for Matt and me.
I'm going to make my own P.O. box, bitches.
You were to say, I'm gonna make my own Switch.
It's like a cardboard box that says Jake's Switch.
And I slide a cardboard cartridge into it and then tape a cardboard picture to the TV screen. Pretend to play while drool slides out of my mouth.
I'm having so much fun more
Guys,
than you.
we are on the opening scene of the movie, and we're like over an hour into this episode.
Oh, I'm trying to make this a 3-hour
On
episode.
brand.
Thank you
We've
very
talked
much.
about other stuff as well.
We have
but,
talked about this movie.
But then,
for a try.
okay, so after that opening scene where we
Yeah.
meet Evil Bill and Ted, we then jump back to the present.
To regular Bill and Ted.
To apparently 93.
Yeah.
And then we've progressed a little bit.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like Wild Stallions is still together, but now Bill and Ted, they like live together in an apartment. They're still with the
Princesses.
babes.
Yeah.
Babes.
Okay, what are the babes' names again?
It's funny that the writers actually forgot too.
That's so funny.
They forgot
Let's leave
we
it at that then. The
Yeah.
babes.
The babes.
Right.
They're most pious.
They're most chaste.
Elizabeth
it.
and Joanna.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love that Bill and Ted are just cool with like chastity until marriage. Like,
You know,
that's
I already
so-
said that, and you're just trying to jump on my cool train.
I'm sorry.
No.
Adam, I agree with you. I like your point. Let me say it that way.
Okay, there you go.
I'm not coming up with the original idea, but
No, because I'm just worried that it's going to be edited out.
Bill and Ted are
you're
accepted.
editing it out.
Remember, completely. We don't really edit these
My
episodes.
mic's not on.
We seem insane because we're talking to silence.
Every so often, just like all sound cuts out on this show.
But this is what we're talking about is like Bill and Ted as characters are open-minded, and that includes literally everything. Like,
yeah.
so like
Except for the homophobia.
no,
It's
no.
only evil Bill and Ted
Because
who
that's
use
the-
homophobic slurs in this movie.
right.
And
Oh,
also,
you're right.
the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, does the devil?
Yeah, the
say
devil's
something?
a jackass. He's homophobic. Fuck him.
He's a jackass. The devil's a jackass.
Dude, I hate
Voiced by
Lucifer.
Frank Welker.
That's
the
funny.
voice of Megatron.
Dude,
So-
the devil is a
Megatron.
is a jerk.
So good.
Thank you. I almost spit up my coffee
Hell yeah, dude.
and hit my mic.
I loved the hell sequence because I like the hell's design is so weird.
It's
so-
it reminds me of
cool.
Spawn almost.
Yeah.
Like, there's like floating
And
rocks.
you know what? It looks better than
Than
the
Spawn.
hell in like the 97 Spawn
Yeah.
movie.
totally.
I will say that's. Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh no, you go.
Okay, cool.
The tension is so
Guys,
powerful.
I really love pregnant pauses. No, I think what I love about this movie in general is just how weird
Yeah.
it is. And that's the reason, like, when Patrick was like,
bananas.
which one do you want to talk about? I'm like, I want Bogus Journey.
Yeah.
Because, A, I'm required by law to talk about time travel with a phone box.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah.
also because I really just love when franchises get weird.
Yeah.
Like, that is the thing that I'm obsessed with. And I know that on a previous podcast, you guys talked about the Willow novels. Because they're just so weird.
Yeah.
They're like, and I have them here if you guys want to read them. But
The Chris Claremont and George Lucas
Yeah.
collaboration Bizarre Willow sequel trilogy.
So here you go.
What?
Whoa, these motherfuckers are thick.
Yeah.
Some tunes.
And anyone who's ever read
tunes.
a Chris Claremont comic book can
Yeah.
tell you he's a wordy man.
I gotta take a picture of these ears and this shit so I can put it
No,
on.
I will say
We have
like
pig ears
it's-
and willow tones on our table right
what
now.
I love about this movie is just that like it is so weird. It's unapologetically weird, and like it goes to places that I don't think any sequel would ever do today.
Yeah.
Like,
well, so here's the thing. The basic premise of this movie is the Terminator.
Yeah.
Right.
Some robos come back in time to kill Bill and Ted.
To kill the people who are going to like save the future.
Yeah, change the world for the positive.
That's entirely it. Also, important thing to note: this movie, its opening weekend at the box office, it opened at number 2 because Terminator 2 was number 1.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, which is funny because it literally has scenes that are in Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Like, you know the one in Terminator 2 when John Connor calls his foster parents, and his foster mother is like, "Yeah, John, come home," and then and then of course then Arnold says, "Your foster parents are dead." They do that scene where the robots imitate the voices of loved ones.
Yeah, they imitate the voices of the babes.
Yeah, but the thing is, the premise is the Terminator. It's like robots that look like humans get sent back in time to kill the saviors of humanity.
Exactly.
Except then, instead of just being the Terminator and being like a chase movie set in the present day, instead they die almost immediately, and it plunges into this movie about the afterlife with heaven and hell, where the Grim Reaper is one of riffing on the Grim Reaper from the Seventh Seal,
which is the quintessential riff.
It becomes a Seventh Seal parody, which is also crazy because I believe this is like 2 years before Last Action Hero, which also riffs on the Seventh Seal Death, where Ian McKellen plays Death in that movie.
You die, grandfather. I love that fucking line.
Also, a good weird movie.
Yeah.
But it goes through so many things, and then you have like what begins as basically a Terminator riff ends up at a point where the heroes are in heaven, commune with God, then get a weird alien played by a person in a suit, people in suits,
little people in
to
suits.
travel back in time, build new robots, and face off in a music contest against the evil robots. That is an insane fucking movie.
That's a weird fucking plot.
It's a weird,
and that is it in a nutshell.
Yeah. It's also like...
Anyway, actually, I think we're done with the episode. I just...
All right, cool.
finish
Bye,
the
guys.
story.
And we're lying. And we're lying.
No, I think that's like the appeal of this movie. It's just like I having rewatched it recently. It's like I can't say I love it. I really like it, but I love it for how weird it is. Like I one of my favorite TV shows is Fringe.
Yeah.
Which is not by any means a consistent show. But what I loved about it is that every single season, they're like, let's break the show. Let's do something completely different. Let's do something completely weird. Let's go in a completely like left turn direction. And I really appreciate that about Bogus Journey. It's like, let's see where we can go with this in like a place that's completely different than the original film.
Yeah.
And so like, they make weird choices like, let's go to like not only let's go to hell, let's have like Death play Battleship against our main heroes. Let's let's do like and like let's then go to heaven and like you said, like introduce an alien and then like build robots out of like houseware. Like
Let's have Bill and Ted confront subconscious like Freudian fears from their
Exactly.
childhood that you've given no context about.
And you like, look at again to go back to the opening scene. But while so many sequels, so many versions of this movie you can see where they're just going to be like, all right, let's basically do the first one again. Let's have them just travel through time, meet different people.
Don't reinvent the wheel.
Maybe
it's too risky.
Spend more time in the future. In the opening scene, it's basically just saying like, oh yeah, that the plot of the first movie, that's just like an everyday thing that we do all the time.
Right.
Like there's that idea, drop
Moving
there
on.
in the first 2 minutes. Let's move on and do new things.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, just to give it back, just to go back to where we kind of like left off earlier, but just Bill and Ted have proposed to their babes.
Yeah.
Well, they do propose. We see them
propose.
propose.
Yeah.
And it's adorable
'Cause it's
they
like
both
this-
read shitty poems to them
It's
across
like
from each other.
the same thing, just slightly off. It's
Yeah.
like the same
Yeah,
words,
yeah.
like with one word differences
They're
here and there.
so
Yeah.
They propose with rings
together
from a
as
Cracker
friends.
Jack box. I think.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
one would have to assume. And then once they succeed, and the babes are like, of course.
Yeah.
They turn and grin at each other stupidly and do their guitar riff, and they go home, and everything's great. And then Evil Bill and Ted, that's when Evil Bill and Ted show up.
Yeah.
And essentially just barge into their apartment. They're obviously like, oh, this must be us from the future because we've encountered that
You're right.
situation
They're excited
before.
to see each
so let's
other.
trust them because
Except,
they helped
Ted
us out
does say,
majorly.
Ted
He's
does
like,
say like something wrong with him.
Vibe check. Yeah.
And evil Robo Bill and Ted basically are like, come with us. We're going to just take you somewhere. Don't ask questions.
Also important to note that
Yeah.
they're watching an episode of the original Star Trek series on TV,
Right.
where there's a scene where Captain Kirk is stranded on a planet, and then they go to that exact location.
That classic Star Trek episode
Yeah.
where he fights like the shitty fight with
The,
the big green
the
lizard.
gore,
Yeah.
the gore,
Yes.
the gore, Gorn, it's Gorn.
The Gorn.
Yeah.
And then
Gorn.
I forgot how funny it is when he runs up that hill.
Yeah.
And it's
so
just like
good.
kind of like shitty out of shape William Shatner just like running up the hill.
So Robo-
that is
yeah.
the most in shape William Shatner ever was.
I
Yeah.
know.
Or
I
ever
know.
will be again.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe at the age of 95, he'll just get.
Is
like,
he 95?
He's like 80
Holy
something.
moly.
No,
Oh,
no.
he's
I'm not
80
saying he's 95 now, but I'm
But
saying
when he's
maybe
95.
when he's 95.
Yeah.
He's going to be freaking jacked.
He's
Jacked.
one of those people, kind of like James Lipton, that is older than they look.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
looks good for his age. Good on you,
But
Will.
Lipton,
which is
Lipton looked
Yeah.
older than he was for a while,
Right.
and now that's a good thing.
And the same
Yeah.
thing happened to like Patrick Stewart. Like Patrick Stewart like looked like he was like in his 50s when he was like 35, and then he just
Yeah.
kind of stopped.
Well, he just went completely bald, but
Yeah. Right.
but like Patrick Stewart is I think like 6'3" and was jacked when he was young.
Oh,
He is not 6'3".
He's a tall dude.
Guys, Shatner's 88.
Yeah, Jesus.
Damn, dog. Well, how tall is Patrick Stewart?
He is shorter than I am.
For real?
Yeah, I have a. Let me.
You've interviewed him.
Wait, I don't.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
Okay.
Yeah, 5'8".
Oh.
Okay.
And the internet says Patrick Stewart is 5'10".
Wait, let me show you.
Wow, I took a class.
I don't know what
with
to believe anymore. I've heard 8 different heights
Well,
now at
I
this
think
point.
the internet's right. I think he's
look,
short.
Adam's
thought
the
he
only
was
one here
tall.
who's actually met him.
Yeah.
And is about to pull up a photo of the two of you standing together, I assume?
Yeah. Talk amongst yourself.
Which is perfect for an audio medium.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because
We'll post it on the Twitter.
I took a college course on Shakespeare with Daniel Stewart, Patrick Stewart's son.
Here you go. So that's from an interview we did.
Oh, yeah.
Yahoo.
Oh, he's a little guy.
Yeah, he's a.
Oh.
I will say this because this is obviously the Patrick Stewart podcast. Great guy.
big sweetie.
He seems like
Big
he should be a
sweetie.
sweet.
Absolute sweetheart.
I'm glad for that confirmation. Maybe we'll do Patrick Stewart.
Well,
Yeah.
he was. I will say
We'll
he
do
was
every
jacked.
episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
You haven't watched any of it though, right?
No.
That's like your
can't do
blind
that.
spot.
Star Trek.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a decent chunk of it.
Yeah, I
but
really-
mostly Deep Space. I'm Deep Space Nine more than anything
Yeah.
else.
Most like hardcore Trekkies I know are DS9.
Yeah.
So like,
DS9.
so evil Bill and Ted take good Bill and Ted to the desert and lead them up this cliff, the William Shatner green lizard fighting
Yeah.
cliff,
And just toss them
and
off
then
of
just
it.
throw them off the
And
edge,
then spit on them.
and
Yeah.
then spit huge
Loogies.
trailing
Loogies.
loogies onto him,
Which
and
is
then high five each
brutal.
other.
Yeah.
Okay, so an
Yeah.
important thing that I want to bring up here.
And then they're dead.
Until this movie,
And
I was
they killed
never
them, they
familiar with the term Melvin for wedgie.
Yeah, they
nah.
give them wedgies, and they're like, "Oh, we totally Melvined them."
Is it because
Yeah.
Melvin
Yeah.
is like a classic nerd name, or did
Melvin's
like
got wedgies?
a notorious bully named Melvin like patent the move?
Yeah, a serial wedgier
Well, so I'm.
running around a high school.
Yeah. Just the things where people's balls, like, burst
guys, don't worry. Wikipedia has us covered.
Oh, no.
So if you, in the plot summary, when it mentions Melvin, it actually is a link for the Wikipedia article for wedgie, and in the variations on a wedgie, because a wedgie is the act of forcibly pulling a person's underwear up from the back.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
the Melvin is a variant where the victim's underwear is pulled up from the front to cause injury or at least severe pain to the victim's genitals.
Yeah, but that's
Testicular
not what they
injury.
do in this.
They don't. Also, the female variant is sometimes called a Minerva. And this, let no one say this is not an educational podcast.
Minerva, isn't she like some goddess of like wisdom or something
Minerva's
like
just
that?
an
something
old
like that.
school name, yeah.
No, and it's weird. I will say that even in the commentary, like you kind of realize that both the writers and like you, myself realize like They just gave Death a wedgie, and there was such a terrible wedgie that he could not follow them, even though it's already established in the scene before that he can move around,
Like teleport.
instantaneously.
I love the relationship between Death and Bill and Ted because Death obviously is this terrifying specter-like person who shows up, and he's like, no one has ever been able to beat me at yes. Bill and Ted are like, oh, Death, we just got thrown off a cliff. We want to go back to the real world. Can you help us? And he's like, yes. The only way to get back to the world of the living is to beat me at a game.
Right.
Guys, I have to pause it right here.
Why?
On the Wikipedia article for Wedgie, there is one photograph, and the description is just a male receiving a wedgie. And it is two guys in what looks like a college dorm. Let me show you the picture.
Oh, God.
Fuck. Dude, what is...
I like the anthropological phrasing. It is a male.
it's like David Attenborough's witnessing it.
It is a sapien.
It is one guy, shirtless, bent over, about to hike a football.
Yeah.
While his friend stands in front of him and has grabbed his briefs from the back and has yanked them really far
Up to his mid-back.
This is actually not from Wikipedia. It's from Patrick's own personal photos.
Yeah.
Guys, this is a Wikipedia article?
Yeah.
His kill list.
This is my podcast. My podcast within a podcast, Willems on Wedgies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Welcome to Willems on Wedgies.
Today we're talking about the variations of the wedgie. We'll be discussing the Minerva.
That I've received.
And the Melvin.
The flag.
Oh, no.
wedgie.
The Melvin is going to be a whole 5-part sub-series.
Oh, right. The subsection. Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know. I saw the notes on that, but I didn't. I got excited.
I'm thorough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. I've received
I'm
many
thorough,
wedgies in
bro.
my life. The thing about things like wedgies and swirlies is I never saw any of those happen in high school.
It's outside of our era.
But
It's
yeah.
an 80s thing.
I guess so, but it
And
just
maybe just a filmically.
I've always
like-
wondered about that because I spent my whole adolescence seeing these in movies and TV shows and being like, does that really happen?
No, I mean it really happened. I mean,
Never
I remember getting and giving wedgies when I was a kid. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You were a bully and got bullied?
No, I mostly got bullied. Yeah, but
I feel like everybody at one point or another both bullied and
yeah,
was
but
bullied.
I felt like when it's amongst my friends, it wasn't bullying. It was sort of like we're playing a game with each other. Like, oh, that hurt, ha,
Right,
and you're
like-
next, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Whereas
Punching
like
your friends in the balls
Right.
and stuff.
I mean,
as a
the
joke.
closest thing I can recall is
yeah, what?
You know what I mean?
yeah, a
Just
sack tap.
Dude, yeah, quick
Yeah.
sack tap.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
dude.
Classic. I mean, the one thing
Classic.
I can recall is some pantsing in high school.
Right.
yeah, you
That
just take
shit's-
somebody's pants down.
Yeah, that's
Show your
a
underpants.
Yeah.
crime, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
High
indecent
school
exposure.
sucked.
High school
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
weird time for a lot of
Middle
people.
school was
Middle school
Yeah,
tends to be
middle school
the
is the
worst.
worst.
Yeah.
Middle school tends to be
High school was
worse.
actually bad, but not in that way.
Right.
Like I wasn't
I found
actually
it
bullied.
tolerable.
You're
Yeah.
emerging from the throes of puberty, which
Right.
hit you in middle school so fucking hard.
I will. It's weird because you look back at middle school and high school, and there are kids who are they're really popular kids, they're good at sports, and they're really popular, and they probably had sex at 12, and they're so cool, and which is not
when you're 12, that is cool.
When-
When you
when
see
you're
other
12
people that
when
are
you're-
your age, and you're like, dude, you had sex already? That's crazy.
Yeah, and
now
now-
you listen to it now, and you're like, that's fucked up.
Exactly, now,
I can't believe
Because the
somebody
story
did
is always
that.
like
It's
a
sad.
17
now it's just
is
wow, your childhood was ruined.
Yeah,
And but
yeah.
at the
Yeah.
time, it's amazing. But then you look, for me personally, you look at all those kids who are super popular, and you go back home and
look at them
they're-
now.
They look at them now. They're 400 pounds. They got 6 kids. They're miserable, and
Yeah.
I'm like, this is my tea.
And we got a Keanu Reeves podcast, so
I
who's
don't-
laughing
Yeah,
now?
who's laughing now?
Popular kids in Saratoga, some of them are like that, but most
There were a lot of nice
most of them
people.
are just doing fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, honestly.
Well, I mean,
They're just
Matt,
not mean
Matt,
anymore.
you weren't at the high school reunion.
right.
Very true.
I was.
and you saw the...
I had several people who I had not been in touch with, come up to me, and also I will say this is before I was even full time with YouTube. I wasn't even successful at it yet. But they would come up to me drunker than I was, and they would be like, "It just makes me so happy to see you doing what you love and
Yeah.
succeeding at it, because I work in finance.
Yep.
I hate it, and when
yeah.
I see your videos, I'm like, well, I'm glad he's doing something that makes him happy, and I was like, thank you.
And then he stumbles off into the darkness. Cue, here comes a regular by the replacement. As he sadly walks away.
I mean, and to like bring it back to this, and that's kind of like what Bill and Ted is.
Bring it on topic.
Bring it on topic. Like that is what Bill and Ted is. Like these kids who did like poorly in high school, who find whatever stage of their life, they find what makes them happy, what makes them what they love, and then they share that with the world, and it becomes something greater.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really endearing about the series, where you know, I would never describe myself as a Bill and Ted in high school or in middle high school, because I wasn't. But at the same time, it's like there's something to be learned for me. It's like, hey, these kids who are so passionate about this one thing change the world. And that's the coolest thing about the entire series. It's like you can be passionate about something, you can love something, and even if no one else around you believes in you, as long as you believe in yourself, you will become something greater than you are. I mean, and that's really cool. I mean, it's massive.
It's something
like,
you should strive for. It's very, it's very unrealistic. They're like not real humans. They're like these weird paragons of just optimism.
Right, and like the whole thing, like the core ideas through the series are like, in the first movie, it's about like, learning and like expanding your worldview and your knowledge, and meeting other people is like important and will help you grow.
We also said it was a critique on the education system.
Yes, exactly.
It's teach to the student, not the book.
Thank you for quoting me. My great point.
Twitter beef.
Twitter beef, not a real life beef. And this one is like, because like the first one is really about like, we have to save this friendship.
Yeah.
This one is about, we have to save this budding musical career.
Right.
Yeah.
And our relationships. A little bit.
Because
they always up the ante, because that's why the third one is just going to, obviously, like, what we already know is it's clearly going to take it to the next step of fatherhood. So, like, I like that they've sort of are just very slowly progressing with each movie into like a new realm of responsibility that's going to necessitate some kind of change on their part, or like
I hope they do this again in another 10 years and this becomes the before quadrilogy.
We just
Bill
see
and Ted, and it's just
80-year-old
beautiful.
Keanu,
Well, I also think it's really nice that like at the core of the series, it's like, what is the message that Bill and Ted are sharing? It's like, be excellent to each other.
Yeah.
You know, like
and party on, dudes.
and party on, dude. But like, you know, and you guys talk about in the Excellent Adventure series, but like episode, they are just good humans. They are good humans to everyone. They're very excited about learning and experiencing, and even
and they're accepting to like of everyone.
Everyone, even the devil. They meet the devil like, "What's up, devil dude? Yeah, you rock!" And like,
they get mad about him.
They get mad about him, like,
because
the devil is very
he's a
bogus.
dickweed.
Yeah.
he's a major dickweed.
Yeah, and like even like their evil losses is like
Beelzebub.
they're nice to them too. Like I don't know, it's something that's when I was describing to my girlfriend that I was going to do the podcast, and there was like a Bill and Ted 3, and she's like, "Why would Keanu Reeves want to do the character again?" I'm like, "Well, because he really likes the character, and
Keanu Reeves is cool. Dude.
he's cool,
And
but
it's a great character.
And it's a great character, but like I will say, like having now rewatched it, both films, you're just like, oh, that's why. Like it's. I think my memory of the movies was like, here's two dimwits going through time, getting killed and surviving, and you know all that sort of like just two dimwits who become musical and have a band and create the future. But watching it now, you're like, oh, there's just these two kind kids who tell everyone just be kind to each other. And, you know, as someone...
They actually have a great take on the world.
Yeah, and especially as someone who spends way too much time on Twitter, it's like, just be kind. And, like, it was so refreshing to see.
Everybody on Twitter be like Bill and Ted.
Yeah, it's just
idiots.
like...
I mean, we say it at the end of every episode.
Yeah. Be excellent
we
to
keep
each
saying at the end of every episode, nobody listens.
No one listens.
Well,
there's still war, and I'm pissed.
Aren't they?
Dude, I'm ticked.
Yeah. Guys, like
We said it again and again. Be excellent. What are we doing? What's going on out
Party
there?
on. Fuck.
I think,
Jesus.
I think if we could just get Donald Trump to listen to our podcast, we could solve all this.
Yeah, we need to
you
blare
know,
it over
and
the wailing
problem
wall.
is that you have too many words on this podcast that surpass 3 syllables. So you can't...
Do we?
You do.
No,
he
hey,
said
listen.
a French word earlier.
Listen, we don't get political.
Joie de mort, yeah.
Joie de mort.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
I'll
Good
love
phrase.
death, dude.
Wait, guys, I'm going to bring this all on topic because
Wait, what are we talking about today?
in the second scene of the film,
I would love if you just had that whatever like short-term memory loss constantly.
Yeah.
You were the worst.
Adam has like immediate
50
amnesia.
First Dates.
No, I'm so happy to be here with Stephen, Michael, and John.
John,
thanks,
thank
buddy.
you.
You're
I
doing
thought you
so
were
well.
John from HR. Wait, so
I'm John. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, oh my God,
Wow,
you're
this
forgetting
is a
everything.
journey.
Yeah.
Long-term memory loss.
This entire
Long-term and
podcast has
short-term
been
memory
a
loss.
bogus journey.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's right. I'm trying to make this episode like the movie. Wow. Yeah.
These ears smell good.
That's what I said. They smell like bacon.
Stop smelling my ears.
Thank you.
By the
for
end
that.
of this episode, Matt's gonna be gnawing on the
I
pig.
On a
seriously am
giant pig ear.
thinking about it. I have one friend who has a dog. I might give
Yeah,
her.
they're
Okay,
Yeah.
so in the
They do smell
second
like
scene of the
bacon.
film,
Yeah.
Pam Grier is there.
Yes, Pam
Yeah.
Grier, looking
and-
great.
Yeah, and Bill and Ted are supposed to be they have auditioned for the Battle of the Sandiest Battle of the Bands, which is
Right.
a kind of like the their history presentation,
Yeah.
a way bigger event than it should
Yeah.
be.
Right.
It's like broadcast on television. It's in like not a stadium, but like an arena.
Yeah, way higher stakes than their
Yeah.
Exactly.
history
Right.
And
class.
again,
I mean, Primus
they-
performs there. They're trying their best.
Yeah, they still don't know how to play guitar.
They're a little better, but not much.
They say we still don't know how to
They
play.
have cool outfits now.
They have. They
Give
have
them that.
Yeah. Well, no. They just have regular new outfits. They get outfits at the end of the movie.
Oh, right.
But they're just but they do have just different clothing than in
Their
the
look
first
is pretty
film.
strong. I mean, I've always been preferred Ted's look in both movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ted's
I
fucking
think
dope
that
looking.
I don't know. Bill's half shirt in the first movie is pretty great.
Actually,
That's back to when Alex Winter was like doing a lot of sit-ups.
Yeah.
It was all
he was
planks
so
every day.
proud of it.
Crop
little
top.
winter
I mean,
belly
I
Crop
mean,
top. He's like,
he
in
was a
between
lost
takes, he's
boy.
like, guys, I just got to take, just do a plank for like 20 minutes. And he looks
So this is our friend, our dad's friend, was like hot in the 80s and now, but is like a very vain guy. And his name's George, and he has a shirt that says "I'm Georgeous," and it's a crop top, and he was like 50, and he was wearing this crop top, and it was just so funny, like just
I'm
still trying to
Georgeous.
hang, like still doing the 80s like
That's funny.
hot boy thing.
How's his
Hot
how
boy
his abs
summer.
looking?
I mean,
Honestly,
honestly,
not
he's
bad.
looking good.
Better than us.
He keeps the ship.
I just
tight,
wouldn't want to
yeah.
live the life
Yeah.
of anxiety that he lives in order to like maintain.
See, if you just never look good,
Yeah.
then there's nothing to maintain. There's nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, so
Pam Grier,
Battle of the Bands.
Yes.
They can't play. They're like not good. The babes are better at their instruments
Yes.
than Bill and Ted are.
Yeah.
And she is just very nice to them and is like, I'll let you guys in. You'll be
Yeah.
on last. Please be better by the
Right.
show.
Yeah.
I know so much leeway
and
given.
but even that is slightly unbelievable. But we learn why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything
And
clicks
maybe
into
the
place.
most elaborate,
so
like,
alright.
plant strategy that
Yeah.
like, surprise, Rufus.
Yeah.
Is Pam Grier.
Yeah, we'll get there, we'll get
has.
there.
There, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Really?
how is this
I don't
your
know at
fucking
this point.
I
plan?
don't know. Yeah, I don't know either.
How is this your plan?
So so they're like, oh, okay, and they go back and they propose to the babes.
Yep.
Then they're kidnapped by the Robos.
Killed.
And killed, and now they're with Death. And they give Death a huge Mervyn or whatever.
Melvin.
Jesus, have you been
They
listening
give-
to
they-
anything we've been
They
saying?
give him a huge Merlin.
A Minerva is the female version, of Melvin is the male version.
I love
Yes.
that we're like at the point that we have to repeat the entire episode, like just to remind ourselves what the fuck we're talking about.
Yep.
This is pretty
and
standard.
Death, who can seemingly teleport wherever he wants to, is totally fucked up by this wedgie.
You also have to consider he's never received Melvin before.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we don't know what his genitals are like.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's not just that like shocking and like painful for him, but like it's a mind blowing experience. He's he's probably never felt pain.
His
Also,
psyche is
like,
rocked.
how
to
did they
the
know that
core.
he was wearing underwear?
They didn't. And
Well,
they
this
sort of
is-
just
I
dipped
mean,
his
safe
hand
bet.
into his
Yeah.
robe. Yeah.
We don't want to get too pedantic about
Yeah.
it, you know.
They sort of reach below the frame of the
But-
camera, anyways. And
Exactly.
then they run away, and Death, and then they're like, "Oh, thank God, we got away from Death." And so now, I love the way they're painted too, because Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves, their faces are sort of like painted this ghostly
Yeah.
pallor.
And it's kind of like the general like color timing just
Yeah.
gets colder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like on the film, so it's like kind of like a bluish hue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they did with the costumes was they took a photo of the costumes and then processed it in black and white, and that's how they knew what the colors needed to be. So they actually like
Oh, that's
have
funny. I
black
like
and
that.
white versions of their outfits.
Thank
That's
you for
great.
doing
Cool.
more research
So-
than any of us.
They-
so everything is desaturated essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they try to basically communicate, because they now know that these robot evil Bill and Teds are going to go back and like mess with their babes. so they can't let that happen. They need to get back to the world of the living. I think they go to their old apartment first, right?
Where
to
they
just check in and see if they're like what the robots are up to.
Right, and then they find the robot, their evil us's taking advantage of their women, and the women,
The babes,
the babes, like, yeah. Excuse me, like the babes, like we're not marrying you, and throw their rings
Yeah,
back.
they throw their Cracker
and
Jack rings.
whatever, and
Yeah.
then they run out, and then they decide to go to the police station to try to get his dad, to
Ted's dad to help him out.
Can I just say one thing that I liked about this? I mentioned in our episode for Tune In Tomorrow that I'm very frustrated by conflict in movies that feels unnatural, that comes from like a stupid misunderstanding as a way to force conflict. Like let's have someone just like misinterpret something and then just be mad at this person for like half an hour of the film.
Right.
And I was really glad that the babes learned on their own that Robot Bill and Ted were Robot Bill and Ted, and so there didn't have to be like a scene where Bill and Ted had to explain, be like, no, it's us, we're back, we didn't do those things, and they're like, no, we don't believe you, and then we storm out. It's like they learn relatively quickly, and so they understand what's going on, and we don't need to waste time
with a big miscommunication,
resolving a bullshit conflict.
Right.
So when they're in this police station, though, I loved this scene.
This is a great scene.
Because Ted's dad, who is played by Hal Landon, Ted goes into his dad's own ear to try to get him to then talk to a crew of police officers at the precinct and get them to go over to Bill and Ted's actual apartment and sort of take care of these robot versions of themselves. So he goes into his dad's own ear, and then Hal Landon gets this hilarious section where he gets to basically do a Ted impression.
Yeah.
And he does it so well.
Apparently,
It's good.
they asked him,
He fucking nails that
He
bit.
has fun with it, clearly.
They apparently asked him, can you mime the actions, and they kept on going and then he realized oh, you just want me to do a Ted impersonation.
Yeah.
And can you? It's okay, mate. Yeah, I think he went back and rewatched all of Excellent Adventure multiple times, so that way he could get hey, that everything
movement.
That's what I mean.
movement
He gets
and the
every
voice,
aspect of it right, and it's so funny to me. I was like, good on Hal Landon. Also, what a fun thing to do, because you have to just play this dour, sort of military-esque figure to Ted, and now you get to be just the biggest silly goose.
I also love he does when he's like, I totally, but that's my dad, and he does the guitar thing, and when it's his dad, it's like, instead of
something stupid sounding.
Not even stupid. It's just classical music.
Yeah, classical guitar.
Yeah, the guitar changes. Yeah, that was really good.
That was a little touch. I'm like, that's really funny.
And then Bill jumps into the other officer,
And that guy's trying way less hard.
Yeah.
That guy just doesn't quite nail it as well. And I think they should have fired him from the movie.
Yeah.
Anyways,
And slit his throat.
But also, their idea for possessing these bodies is it's let's do that thing they did in The Exorcist 1 and 3.
Yeah. We will not speak of The Exorcist, the Heretic.
A John Borman film.
Underrated.
Yeah.
But considered one of the worst movies of all time.
Exorcist 2 is underrated? Or
Yeah.
John Borman's
John
underrated?
Borman.
Both.
I haven't-
Borman and Exorcist 2,
I haven't seen Exorcist 2.
underrated. But it's a low bar to set because,
Right.
so many people hate that movie. But anyways, it doesn't really work. The police precinct is just confused by the abrupt, strange behavior of these two guys. So they pop back out of the ears of these guys and then run instead to Missy.
Yeah.
Mrs.
I mean,
Mom's
Mom.
house. Who, by the way, did they set this up ever that she's just someone who casually has seances?
No,
for fun?
they don't. But it's
They
Missy.
just
Also,
it's Missy.
it's-
she's a loon.
They're in California,
Yeah.
and you can see her being into new age spiritual stuff.
Yeah, she
Right.
is. So
So she's trying to help us, new age babes or whatever.
Also,
Yeah.
the
Made
two
me
men
laugh,
there are the writers.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
They peer into Missy's living room window and see her
Clark
engaged with a
Gable.
large group of occult enthusiasts, occult spirituality enthusiasts who are just sitting around a Ouija board.
and they're
who
trying
all
to
just
talk
look
to
like-
trying to commune with
who,
the dead.
And they
I
all
don't
seem
know.
like upper middle class, just suburban white people.
Right,
Yeah.
it's like rich, wealthy people that are trying to talk to dead celebrities.
Yeah.
So I forget who they try and summon, but
Yeah, I
A
forget too.
bunch of them
but-
are historical figures.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then I think Missy wants to talk to Clark Gable.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Clark Gable
Gable.
is one of the writers.
Oh.
He's definitely playing it as someone who's probably closeted gay
Yeah.
man, and he's just like, Clark Gable.
Oh, yeah. That was
Yeah.
well done. Yeah.
So they sort of manifest in like this shimmery version of themselves over them, and they're
Yeah.
like, "What's going on, New Age babes?"
And then,
And
but then
then,
they're like, "Who the fuck? It's ghosts we didn't want."
Yeah,
Just
like,
say this
ew.
incantation and send them to hell.
Yeah, and Missy
yeah.
Missy has like the Necronomicon like under her other books,
Yeah.
and like flips it open.
Yeah, it's actually a Stephen King novel that she has.
Oh,
there.
really?
Apparently, in like the IMDb trivia, which should always be taken with a grain of salt, it says like in a few frames you can
LionDB.
clearly read like
Yeah.
just like the page that's there.
That's funny.
And the thing that she says is the incantation is Bill and Ted rule the world backwards.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man, see, this is why. So glad you did any.
Yeah, these are
We
fun little
forget
tidbits.
that-
I like those tidbits.
Yeah.
Research is good.
It's
No, it's like it's funny because my girlfriend came home. She's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Watching the documentary on Bogus Journey." She's like, "They made a documentary." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Look, I need to know what the fuck I'm talking about when I go on this podcast."
That
She's
is
like,
not true,
She's
but
like,
yeah.
"That is a good instinct." And
That
I'm
is a
like,
good
we
instinct.
really
Yeah.
appreciate it. But to say it's necessary.
I know it's not. No. Look, guys,
Have you met us?
I've met you.
We're the least
and I've
necessary
listened to
people
this
on the
episode,
planet.
so I feel like I've met the Torpey Bros.
Thank you.
The
Yes.
Bropies.
Bropies.
Bropies. I'm sorry. I was using the southern accent on it.
Bropies.
Bropies.
Like Keanu and Tune In Tomorrow.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was.
Don't tune into that
and
movie.
it's just like, I want to know this stuff.
Okay, so they go to hell.
They go to hell.
They face their fears. They don't, though. I kind of like that they don't resolve that. I
Yeah.
know there's like growth and blah blah blah, but I like that they just went to hell and they're
Run
afraid
through
of these things.
weird, creepy metal
in this-
chambers and hallways that
It's in this-
contain their fears.
That
in
also
each room.
isn't their main arc. Their arc is not like it's not like it's established early on. Like, oh man, they're really being held back by these childhood fears.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
right.
like
Their relationship is quote because Ted keeps freaking out every time he sees a rabbit.
you get like a little
hop by.
like
Yeah.
one more pixel higher resolution of like them by like
Yeah.
knowing some weird thing about them.
I loved just the abrupt insertion of these strange psychological backstories to both of them. Just that either of these characters who we've in the first movie and this movie up until this point have played as just these completely empty slate brained like optimists that have
Yeah.
like nothing that seems like influenced them from their past. Suddenly you're like, oh no, they have like strange like subconscious demons that sort of like not plague them but are just floating somewhere in their brains.
And this is
just hang up
where-
with the Easter bunny and getting smooches from grandma.
It is kind of like
the grandma was legit fucking
yeah.
so
Okay,
scary.
That's
That
Alex
part-
Winter.
That's Alex Winter in makeup.
That's Alex Winter in makeup.
Oh my god.
Kudos, Alex.
Alex,
Ooh,
nice, dude.
Nice
Yeah.
Freudian touch. Alex Winter being his own grandmother
Yeah.
to kiss himself.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I
her
like
running
it.
down the hall
no,
backlit.
that's what I love. Like the weird like small
Actually
hallways.
scary.
Yeah.
Just like all made out of this like sort of jagged metal. Everything
Yeah.
is so exaggerated.
Well, it's like a sort of. It looks like a what is it, that German surrealism? That like that time period where everything was like kind of like canted to the left and like weird,
MC Escher stuff.
weirdly distorted. Like what is that?
Oh,
fucking
German
called?
Expressionism.
Yeah, expressionism. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. We got classy.
Oh,
Yeah, we're talking
Yeah.
Cabinet
We try
of
and
Dr.
drag some
Caligari.
shit in there.
Exactly, and also I do want to point out, like again,
Yes.
this movie it had a much bigger budget than the first movie,
Yeah.
but also
Yeah.
like visually, it's way more impressive. And
Oh, yeah.
the cinematographer on it was Oliver Wood, not the Harry Potter character, like
Oliver
an actual
Wood?
guy.
Okay,
but-
guys, calm down. It's not
Exactly.
Harry Potter. It's
This
not
is
real.
this is not the captain of the Gryffindor Quidditch team. Although he is from England. No, Oliver Wood. He had just shot Die Hard 2 before this.
Ooh.
But then I think probably the thing that he's best known for is he was the cinematographer on the Bourne trilogy.
Okay.
Good on you,
So
buddy.
he would shoot a lot of like big Hollywood action movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially he did kind of like he was the guy who was there developing the like Paul Greengrass shaky cam style.
So the Deus Ex sort of thing that.
Oh, sorry. He also shot Mr. Holland's Opus, directed by Stephen Herrick, director of Bill and Ted 1.
Wow. Oh, so many.
Bill and
the
Ted
web
family.
of life is woven so tightly.
Yeah. The loom of time
Yes, bullet bending.
and all those wonderful things.
So like, they're about to be just sort of like, just like descended upon by their fears, and then
Yeah.
death comes as like the sort of, God in the machinery. pulls him out, and then they
No, because they call for death. Like, we gotta play
Oh,
death.
right.
And
They
he's like,
understand the
yeah.
rules of their world very well when
Yeah.
they need to.
Because death
For complete
explained
idiots, yeah.
like early on, and they ran away and tried other things. Also, just like the way you mentioned already, but like with the grandma backlit, but the way they have like they're like trapped with all these different like corridors, and everyone is like a different color,
Right.
And they're just like
Yeah.
being cornered as each of these entities is
Yeah.
like chasing them down these like terrifying metal hallways. Yeah, it's a really great visual.
It's really, really cool looking.
So
I like it.
those passageways that they kind of running down. Apparently, the production designer put on like dolly tracks, so that way, like he built it into the entire system. So that way, the
nice.
dolly. I'm sure you guys can appreciate this. Like he actually made the dolly like operator really happy because they didn't have to lay down tracks into the set. It was already built.
The
in.
wheels click into like the
Yeah.
edges of the hallway
Yeah,
itself.
so
That's
you,
really
and you can
smart.
see them like they're all there, but like
Yeah.
it's all built into so that way they can kind of run around easily.
That's
right.
great.
It's
Yeah.
like practical dolly tracks. And
Yeah.
like practical lights in film
Right.
are like lights that are like within the
Yeah.
scene, like a lamp.
Yeah.
And but it's very rare to have that with like
dolly tracks.
yeah.
Well, you can put that into like a non-natural scene, and it's not as out of place too,
Right,
right? Like
exactly.
you're just like in some weird like boiler room.
They're just
hell
ridges
thing.
in the floor.
Yeah,
There's ridges in the
whatever.
floor, yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
freaking floor ridges.
So
yeah.
so then they get into the purgatory realm of death, and they challenge him to a bunch of games, and he keeps losing. And
Yeah.
This is what I was laughing
This is-
about.
this
Was
is the
just
best
that they
scene.
give Bill and Ted no reason why they of all people are just death has never been beaten apparently by anybody at his games, and they play Clue, they play Battleship,
Well,
they play
I
Twister,
will-
and they beat death every single time.
I
they
will
play
say
a game
this
for no reason.
The reason is, and
Yeah.
it doesn't. It's because of the same person. They're two minds, so
Yeah.
they're always working in concert.
they are
with each
both
other.
lobes.
Yeah,
Death can't battle.
he can't
dual
be.
minds.
Yeah, exactly. He's fighting a gestalt. And
Yeah.
he can't beat it.
The one thing
Light
Death can't
and
beat is
dark.
the Gestalt.
And it's what the first one is Battleship, right?
Battleship.
Which,
Yeah.
Right.
like that reveal, just them at the long table. And
Yeah.
it's all shot like with this intense blue tint. I mean, it's
Yeah.
basically shot like some sort of like surreal art film.
Yeah. I just love Death, like B7. And they're like, this, and Death is
You
like,
fucking shit.
And then they're like, they hit his battleship. They're like, dude, I told you he was on the Jays.
You sunk my battleship. And
Yeah.
like,
It's such a good
I
accent.
told you to ride the Jays, bro.
yeah. And I also love when it's just like, you have to play me again.
Yeah.
And it's like, best two out of three. And then, what is it? Like,
3 out of 5.
Then but then it's Clue, right?
Yeah.
They cut to Clue. It's like,
Clue.
best 3 out of 5. And like, you want to play again? Like, damn right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's
The
and then
electric
Twister.
football. No, electric football is the
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Which apparently is like
Electric
it's such a bad game, but I love that one shot when and they talk about it in the commentary where it's just like circling
Yeah.
around and it's like damn right.
I'm surprised people didn't die from that game. That game seems like it has enough electricity to kill a person if they're short
There are
circuited while you're playing.
I recently was in the Museum of Play up in Rochester.
Yeah.
And the toys that you saw from like the 40s and like earlier, like you can't believe this is a real thing. Like there's legit there was like a video game in quotes of Atomic Bomber where like your game the whole thing about the arcade game was that you had to bomb Japanese cities. and like you're like, oh my god, this is a real fucking game that someone actually played. And you're like, yeah, like for as bad as we are right now and like we have to deal with like, the alt-right and like rampant racism.
We got our own worries.
Like, yeah, we got bad stuff now, but like back then, man, they were just everyone was racist.
I want to play that
Yeah.
bombing game. It sounds kind of good.
Yeah.
Sounds
yeah.
Wait, if anyone has a copy of it, send a PO
It's-
Box 380-333,
can't
Brooklyn, New York
Fit that
11238.
into it's tall, dude. It's like it's all metal and
PO Box
shit.
380-333, Brooklyn, New York 11238.
I actually grew
Address
up,
it to Can't Get Enough of Keanu.
growing up, and my dad used to own a couple of comic stores, and he had, when he got rid of the comic stores, he had Missile Command, and we had that in our back
Nice.
in our garage.
Yeah.
And I just grew up with a fucking arcade game in my garage.
That's dope.
And it's like one of those things where like no one realized. I don't realize how weird that is until like I talk to other people like, wait, you had an arcade game in
He's
your
like,
garage?
where's your
Yeah, my
arcade game?
garage had a
Where's
mop
your
that smelled
garage?
weird in the corner.
Right now, there's a
You
lot.
invite friends over to be
And
like,
there
hey,
was
what
always a spider in
want
it.
to play Smell the Mop?
And then there was a partially deflated basketball that I always forgot that had no air in it. So
Right.
it's like every
and
time I
occasionally
wanted
be
to
like, maybe
dribble
I'll
it.
shoot some hoops, and then
Yeah.
you just dung.
Yeah.
So should
What
we
a
finish
dud.
talking about the movie? Because
Wait,
we're
I know we're way over time.
yeah.
we're not. There's no time limit.
No, how many
But
hours
this
did we
isn't the
do?
Joe Rogan podcast. We can't talk for 4 hours.
No, we are almost at 2 hours.
Okay. All right.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah,
But the last one was like 2.5, right?
No, actually, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, because Griffin had a heart out.
Right, I
and so
remember
that's an under 2 hour episode.
Okay.
That could have.
Well-
okay, if he didn't have a heart out, that would have been our longest episode.
Yeah. Always Be My Maybe was like 2 hours.
That was pretty long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
and,
2:20 or
and
something.
actually,
Why?
I don't know.
Why would he
How did
talk
that
so
happen?
I just
long?
like it's like I get it. Like it's not that long, but Matt really doesn't like me and he wants me out of here. I get it.
I'm trying to get out of here. All right.
There's steam
I'm
coming out of his ears.
fucking
actually, no,
muscling through.
I think our Point Break one might be the longest.
Yeah.
And but
Anyways.
what I wanted to say was that we were talking about death.
Yeah.
As in
Yeah.
the Grim Reaper character, and his in the same way that especially like Billy the Kid and Socrates had these really nice arcs.
Socrates.
yeah.
Exactly. Hey, they learn how to pronounce his name by the
Yeah.
end. Had these nice arcs in Excellent Adventure. I feel like Death has a similar arc in that he learns how to have fun and be like less uptight and appreciate these things he's never been exposed
Yeah.
to until like by the end. Spoilers. He's playing bass in
Yeah.
Wild Stallions. He's like he embraces Bill and Ted's view of
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
That was
Which is why it's perfect for him to come back in the third one,
Right.
because he's like one of their friends now.
He's a band member.
Which
Yeah.
is like the whole point we made in the first episode about, the first Bill and Ted is like, everyone needs to come around to Bill and Ted's point of view.
Yeah. But what I think is really like that's the one thing that's really consistent with this movie compared to the like for as weird as it gets, like the one thing
Yeah.
that's consistent, it's like what made Bill and oh Jesus, I'm trying to hit my mic.
Adam's pop filter keeps shifting around.
It's because I'm just not used to having things in front of me. And I'm talking with my
You're a
hands.
gesticulator. I understand.
No, but what I find really consistent with both movies is that like what's endearing is Bill and Ted collecting people like
Yeah.
onto their like their gravy train. Like they're just like
They're like
hey,
a
you
Katamari
really-
ball.
Exactly. Yeah.
People stick to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Katamari.
Yeah.
That OST is very good.
That game's fun.
wall-to-wall bangers.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
But yeah, and so once they've kind of like won over Death, and then he's accepted defeat.
Yeah.
They then they're like, okay, we've got to get back to to Earth to
Right.
do this, and so he takes them to heaven.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And
He's a plane walker. He can sort of traverse the planes of
Yeah.
existence.
Exactly, and heaven also has like heaven's also funny because it's probably where they use the most CGI.
Yeah.
but it is this like 1991 CGI, so
Yeah.
it just kind of looks like an odd old video game.
It looks like a shitty DOS.
Yeah.
Video
Yeah.
game.
Like you can literally see where they put like the plate of the video and then like
Yeah.
everything else around it. Like
Yeah.
you don't see
Right.
what's not real.
but it's so old school. But they're also like they use the CG mostly in like as matte paintings.
Yeah.
Like it'll be like a really wide shot where you'll see
Right.
like the whole like architecture
Right.
of heaven.
Yeah, big white pillars.
And they get entranced to heaven by. Well, I will say, Bill and Ted do one bad thing in this movie.
Yeah, they
Right.
beat up some just
They beat up
patrons
the
of heaven.
blessed.
Yeah.
Who,
Yeah.
who had legitimately
Yeah.
were going
And
to
then
heaven.
steal their outfits as if wearing a heaven outfit is how you trick people in heaven.
Exactly.
They're thinking that you're
They-
supposed to be
they
there.
do clearly feel remorseful about it because they bring it up several times, like that bad thing we did. We did mug those people and
Yeah.
take their clothes.
Yeah, we should go to hell when we actually die.
But you do get death in like a doily, like in
Which
like
is
an
great.
apron, which is great.
Yeah.
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 But then
That is true.
and then of course, and I guess how you get access to heaven is a guy in a really, really tall chair
Yep.
asks you what the meaning of life is,
Yep.
and then you recite the lyrics to "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" by
Yeah.
Poison, and
That's
then you
also
get
a good gag.
and then you get in, and then basically they go through heaven,
Yep.
which has like it's a. I'm always intrigued by just the way movies visualize like heaven or
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
And because
Me too.
Me three.
That Robin Williams movie, whatever.
What dreams
Oh.
may come? Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful film.
well, you
Yeah.
got that, and then you've got like Defending Your Life, the Albert Brooks movie,
Yeah.
also in like I think early '90s.
Yeah.
What's the Warren Beatty movie?
Heaven Can Wait.
Heaven
Yeah,
Can
Heaven Can
Wait,
Wait,
yeah.
which was remade like 5 times. Are you okay, man?
I'm just hot. Don't worry about
No,
me.
I know you're
Sweaty.
hot.
Matt's
but-
wearing a waffle.
Listen, I'm wearing a
thread
Henley or whatever.
Yeah.
Just-
Look, you can
that's
take
not
off
a
your-
Henley, man. Henleys have buttons on
You want
them.
to take off your shirt? No one's gonna know.
I've done that before.
I bet you have.
Yeah, no,
Thank God we're not on YouTube with like video.
I would not allow that.
Yeah.
This entire episode is actually, just so everyone knows who's listening, Matt's been naked the entire time.
We're also sitting at a table full of cupcakes and pig ears.
I'm naked.
All right, we look deranged. We have a bunch of Willow books on the corner.
Yeah, I got a nice picture of them.
Yeah, they're so weird, man.
There's so much story here.
Dude, like I'll quickly talk about it. Like this novel series, spoilers, features time travel. It features, I shit you not, and I know you mentioned on a previous episode, basically, there's this big cataclysm that kills off every major character in the Willow series besides Willow and Laura and the two little brownies.
Even these guys' favorite
Val.
actor.
Yeah,
Val Kilmer?
They kill Val Kilmer off fucking screen in between the first and second chapter, right? Cuts to like a decade later.
No.
Willow. No, it cuts. I know now. This
George
is a
and Chris?
podcast within a podcast within a podcast
I will
about
not
the
be reading.
Shadow Moon series. So basically, what happens is a decade later, Willow has rejected his name, right? And he now calls himself Thorn.
Blade.
No. It's what is
Death
it?
Eagle Knife.
Shit. I know what his name is. It's
Star
so stupid.
fucker.
He called
The band Starfucker.
for reasons you don't are never really explained. He calls himself Thorn Drumheller now.
Thorn Drumheller.
And he does it. He gives up on
dumb.
everything. He abandons everybody just to figure out what caused the cataclysm. And then he gets invited to go to Alora's basically her debut.
Quinceañera?
Yeah, quinceañera.
Yeah.
It's like she's
Yeah.
like going to be like presented to everyone, and he finds her, and like she's a little brat, and like she's like fat and like hates everybody, and like and then like
Sounds
out of
like
nowhere.
she would go see the Joker movie.
No, wait. So then he's like gets thrown in jail because there's another Willow who is called the Deceiver, and he comes in and. Basically the thing is like the entire premise of the first book is as long as like someone says, "Are you Willow?" he should say yes, but he never does. And there's like this evil Willow floating around, and he's like, "I'm not Willow. I'm not Willow." Like he literally says like Willow. Now there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. I wonder where you've heard that phrase before.
Damn, he's like very
Georgie.
unrevealing about his name. He's like Rumpelstiltskin. huh?
Right. So then like he sees Laura, she like throws cake at him, and then he gets put into a dungeon where a demon in the castle asks him to put their consciousness into a comatose woman. Which he does. It's not the demon, it's a demon's child into a comatose woman.
Okay.
So they can then escape. They eventually somehow get out. They team up with Alora. Like she comes over and like helps him out. And they escape. And after like this entire city is completely destroyed.
Is this the first book or
This
like
is
the
the
third?
first fucking book.
You
may
better
as
tie
well-
this into Bill and Ted's Bogus
yeah.
Journey.
So long story short,
Yeah.
Alora comes into her own. She becomes Silver for some fucking reason.
Like the Capri Sun guy?
Like the Capri Sun guy. Okay.
This is very stupid.
This is very stupid. Right. So then
You read 3 of these.
I read all
And
3 of
Valkyrie
these.
is not even
So
in it.
the twist that happens towards the end of the book, they find out who the Deceiver is.
Yeah.
It is an evil time-traveling Alora who comes back to prevent Alora from ascending to what she's supposed to be. Because in her future, things are great. Just like in a movie called Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
You did it.
Yay!
You tied it back in thematically. Wonderful.
And Willow is.
And we don't need to read the
Rufus?
series anymore. Thank
No,
you.
I will say, don't read this. I
think Willow's
I'm
Missy.
so glad I did. Don't read them.
You did it so no one else has
Yeah,
to.
no. I mean, I one day will make a video about
Claremont
it.
doesn't deliver.
Claremont, I don't know, man. It was
Yeah.
weird.
I mean, what
It's
I
like,
love about
don't
the
care,
existence
Mon.
of these is that these came out in the weird
Yes.
period between
Yeah.
George Lucas making Star Wars trilogies.
Yeah, he was
And
adrift.
But clearly he wanted Willow to be bigger than it was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't enough of a hit to make his sequels.
Yeah.
And so he was just like, I'm going to spend these like 16 years in the wilderness making these giant
like Yoda.
books.
Yeah.
Can't George Lucas just be happy with a cult classic that is good and
Yeah, and
everyone
a cup
likes?
of like a fresh cup of coffee.
Yeah, and then he can just have a fresh cup of coffee, riding a dewback on his ranch.
And it also links up with when Chris Claremont got forced out of X-Men after like 20 years of writing it.
yeah.
We will not be requiring your services
All
anymore.
right, so
guys.
here's my question because
Christopher.
I've actually forgotten this.
We
Bill
are
and
2
Ted-
hours into this episode,
Okay, all right.
and we are talking about Willow.
I almost said Billo and Ted. Fuck, dude.
Billo Baggins Logan.
So Bill and Ted are in heaven, and they need the help of the best. God is like, you need to talk to the best engineer that's available in
Because
this
obviously
realm.
the greatest
plan
intellectual
is-
mind in all of existence.
and he's the only one capable of designing a vessel for them to travel from heaven back to the.
No.
What is the deal with
It's
Station?
they have to
can build
build
a robot.
robots,
Right,
to
to
fight
fight
their
their own
evil
robots.
uses.
Yeah,
So they need this
can't,
funny-
because they know they can't do it alone.
Right. So
Which
you
is
need
like-
these two doopy-looking
Right.
aliens.
Wait, well, God directs. They're like, who is like the greatest mind in the universe?
Yeah.
and then God's like,
Station.
yes,
Yeah.
station.
Station the
Yeah.
alien.
And they discovered these two identical-looking
Yeah.
weird aliens in those perfect kind of like, late 80s, early 90s, like rubber suits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they would just be CGI now, but
Yeah.
here they are short people
In
in
rubber
rubber suits,
Yeah.
and their names are Station.
Yep.
And they have a butt that is their full back.
Yeah, their
It's
crack
great.
goes all the way up to their like.
But what's
neck.
really great
Their
about
neck,
them
yeah.
is they're like holding court, and
Yeah.
and like Einstein is there just like watching in rapt attention
Yeah.
as they're just talking
yeah.
in their alien language.
Speaking
No,
that alien.
they're doing charades.
Oh, no, sorry, they're playing a game of
They're playing
charades.
Bill and Ted. No, it was like Butch and Sundance, the early years.
Yeah. Butch Cassidy. Yeah.
And again, Death bad at games.
No, it wasn't Butch and Sundance. It was
it was Butch
Smokey and the Bandit, the early years. Smokey is the bandit.
Yeah.
Yes.
and no, first he does say Butch and Sundance the early years.
Yeah.
No, it says Smokey.
No, then Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh,
The early ones. All right.
yes.
So
Anyway,
if you're wrong, can we go to the?
Well, we can go to the scoreboard.
Yes,
we
yeah.
we can check the
Scoreboard.
playback
Yeah.
later. Don't
0
worry.
points.
keep talking.
So go on.
They go back to Earth.
Right.
And now we're here again. Ready? Time to save the babes. We got the alien dude. They go to basically like a Home Depot
You're
kind
right.
of thing where Station buys a ton of equipment.
My favorite-
Station then just fuses into himself to turn into a jacked singular station.
Yeah, but real quick. So the scene where they're going through the hallways.
I hate that sentence.
By the way, I looked it up. He does say Butch and Sundance, the early years,
Yeah.
which is a 1979 movie by
Yeah.
Richard Lester.
And then he says Smokey and the Bandit.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So no, that's what Einstein says.
Yeah.
Einstein's one who
yeah.
says Smokey and the Bandit. Smokey is the bandit.
Oh my god. Who cares?
So So when they're going through the hardware store,
Yeah.
and Dad sees a guy like smoking, he's like, "See you soon."
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
the director.
Dude, that's the director?
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All
Was
these
he a
people are so
smoker,
young.
I wonder?
I don't know, but I think he passed away since then. I mean, I think he's passed away since.
Peter
so.
Hewitt, who we haven't talked about. We also didn't
Called his own death.
No, he's still alive.
There he is.
But he's not making movies.
Psych.
He's
You heard
dead.
it here first.
Yeah.
He's dead.
I assumed he was because he was on none of the commentaries. Like apparently he wants like nothing. I don't know. Maybe he wants something to do with the
don't like
movie.
it.
You know what?
Yeah, well, it's funny because we didn't really talk about Stephen Herrick in the episode on the first movie. But they're both guys who like they made more like like relatively big movies, but
Yeah.
none as good as this. Like
Right.
Peter
downhill.
Peter Hewitt, who made this was his first movie.
Right. He made a short film before this.
Yeah, and he's from England. But then after this, he made like the movie Tom and Huck. Remember
hell
that?
yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah,
JTT.
JTT. He made The Borrowers.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
the little
Yeah.
tiny
movie. Cute
people.
He made a movie Jake and I were talking about last night. Thunderpants.
He made Thunderpants?
Yep.
About the kid that farts so
Thunderously.
thunderously that NASA wants him?
Yes.
Thunder, thunder, thunder,
They're like, we need to
pants.
know how
That's
your
it.
farts work so we can power rockets.
Yeah.
And Rupert Grint's in it, and he's like a boy genius.
With so he made that, and then very importantly, he made
Damn.
the Garfield movie.
Oh god, the first one.
Did he do A Tale of Two Kitties?
No.
Oh no, that was one of the Coen brothers. I forgot.
No, one of the Coen brothers wrote the first
Wrote
one.
it.
That's
and
right.
and then honestly, the low point in his career, he
it
made
gets lower.
the made-for-TV Home Alone sequel, Home Alone: The Holiday Heist.
Home Alone 5, Lost in Cincinnati.
I wish.
That'd be cool because if you're in Cincinnati, aren't you kind of close to Minneapolis?
Yeah.
Aren't you close to the Mall of America? Is what
I don't
I'm
know.
trying to say.
Maybe like
is
Home
cool,
Alone,
isn't it?
like,
Ohio.
in the Mall of America.
Put him in the mall. Yeah.
Yeah, just stick 'em-
But anyway, his career peaked with his first movie. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that.
Kevin McAllister.
I haven't seen most of these, but I think
in the mall.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is better than all of those movies.
Yes.
Agreed.
But
So,
yeah, but
it's very original. I mean, he put a lot of thought into it. Like, it's clear that like
it's a well-directed movie. I honestly, I do.
I don't think it's a well-edited movie.
What?
I don't think it's a well-edited movie, but that has nothing to do with the editors. I think that has to do with the fact that they had to rush through it.
Yeah.
You're probably right. I mean,
It feels. I mean, I'm not to step on you, but basically, like the thing about this movie is it's just not tight. It's not tight like the first one, where everything kind of syncs up together. And I think that they had a little bit more time to like really work it. I feel like it would all kind of come together. I think I kind of agree with the writers. Like the first like hour is like, this is fucking weird. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
But like the moment Station shows up, as much as I love Station, I love the idea of him, there is something that is a little lost. Like I said, you're required for Station to like, he's the one who solves the problem. He's the one who like builds the robots. And like the writer said, like they should have had Bill and Ted build the robots. They should have had them be more proactive in their life.
Right.
Excuse me.
I do love just the shitty. Like, he's the best engineer in the entire known universe, and he makes these like junkyard.
He MacGyvers it, yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny.
But it's also one of the things like all he has to work with is whatever is like at this Home Depot
Right.
in
Exactly.
91. I do have to say, speaking of the editor, weirdly, because we just mentioned it, he also edited Defending Your Life, which came out the same year. Another movie about the afterlife.
Being stuck in
and he
heaven.
also then 2 years later edited The Fugitive.
Very cool.
Wow.
Okay, he's worked on some cool
No,
stuff.
and again, I don't want to like throw him under a bus because I don't think it's his fault. I think it's like, as someone, and you know, Patrick, you've been there too. It's like when you have to edit something under a gun, like it's not going to be great. It's going to be
Compromises are made.
You're not
There's a
taking,
lot,
right. You don't really have the time to sit back and be like, okay, how is this playing and stuff like that. You're like, just kind of get it done. And I do have to say, so like, I like this movie. I like the first one more.
Oh, yeah.
too.
I mean, the first one's like perfect.
Yeah.
But I think part of what the first one has, well, this one is like more, it's weirder, it's more interesting visually, it has all these like crazy ideas that are a lot of fun. The first movie also just has a lot of like, since it's not as tight in terms of plot, and like there isn't as much plot in it, there's more of just Bill and Ted hanging out, being in a place and hanging out. And I feel, and with this one, they're so often like, it's like they're like running away from things, or like they're in crazy new environments, or like there's some sort of like almost like there's like a threat there that you don't get as much of them just like walking around and just talking. And I think them just having conversations is the funniest stuff.
And George Washington, what do we know?
right.
Like you don't have them just like sitting in a bedroom just kind of like talking about stuff.
But you do have them like falling down like a bottomless pit.
That's
That made
great.
me laugh when
Yeah.
they start doing 20 questions.
yeah, and but like they're so like of one mind they can't even like do the 20 questions.
A mineral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 questions. What number am I thinking of? 69, dude.
It's hard to like differentiate though because I think I might like Bogus Journey more,
Whoa, hot take.
I can see that. But I can understand that.
but it's also just like tempered by the fact that it's a sequel. It's elaborating on a also wonderful movie.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to I don't know. It's hard to judge as like a single entity.
I in that
That's
way
like the
it's-
problem with sequels to me. Is
And
like,
I will say this, like what's going to be interesting once Bill and Ted 3 come out, it's like the same thing I really love about, and I'm going to do it, I'm going to mention Star Wars, I love about Empire and The Last Jedi, like those two sequel films, is that they really change the narrative and your understanding of this arc. You know,
Are you
like,
trying to bring controversy to this podcast?
I'm
Like,
not.
Don't get political
I'm-
by bringing
we
The
don't
Last
talk
Jedi
about The
up.
Last
yeah. No,
You brought up the alt-right in The Last Jedi.
Yes.
This is going to be the most controversial.
Controversial.
Also, what's funny is in our
Podcast episode.
in the last episode we recorded, during the break in the middle, we had a long conversation off mic about The Last Jedi, but did not do it on
well,
mic.
and that's one of the reasons why Patrick and I are at
Mortal
least
enemies?
Mortal enemies. No, we're actually friends. I mean, this is how I discovered Patrick's stuff, is because of Star Wars.
Yeah.
But in Bogus Journey and a few other films, like I think the movies franchises that work the best are the ones where the second episode or like early on they're just like, let's get weird, let's go left, let's go right, let's go in the direction you're not expecting us to,
Right.
because it allows the third story to kind of be free of doing the same thing over again. I mean, I think that the Fast and the Furious movies did that later on in the series, where they took a real left turn. I mean, it was like Fast 5, Fast 6 that they went nuts.
They rebooted
I mean,
with Hobbs.
Yeah.
That's a really wild one, because like even like Tokyo Drift is pretty different.
Yeah.
but it's really like that became a series where it's almost like every installment is going to go in a new direction.
Right. But like I think that's what like allows a franchise to exist for an extended period of time when you allow it to get
evolves.
weird. And this Bogus Journey really is an evolution, whether it works or not, to excellent adventure.
Yeah.
Right, and we'll
Zig when they zag, baby.
yeah, and we'll get into the ending,
all
but then
good, baby.
basically
all good.
they're in a van, they build the robots,
Right.
and they show up at the Battle of the Bands where Evil Bill and Ted have tied up the babes.
Yep.
For a minute, I thought they were gonna literally hang them.
Was
I
this-
know.
Yeah.
Wait, was this the first time you saw the movie?
No, but like I had not seen it since I was super young, like
Right.
10 or whatever.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it in so long, I completely forgot what happened at the end.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much like villain tying them to like a railroad track.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like they're
Buster
tied.
Keaton video or villain video.
And
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
but they're just gonna go and,
Shot it all on his
words.
iPhone.
Come on, Jake.
They're gonna play a terrible show, lose the contest, and kill the babes.
Right.
And then
What I love about this podcast, by the way, is that I would assume listening to these that you guys drink a lot of whiskey or like beer as you're doing it. But
we're
like,
surprisingly sober for
I
most
know that's
of
the
them.
thing. Like the most we've had to drink today is water and coffee, and
Yeah.
we're
We drank a lot on I
insane.
Love You to Death.
Yeah, that was the drunk episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
Feeling a little drunk on
listeners, you'd never guess.
Well, I
Anyways.
don't know how obvious
There
it is.
was no gas leak, is all I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
It was
liquid leak into my
was-
mouth.
It was
Yeah.
a self-induced
Full
liquid pour into my gullet.
But so, guys, let's cover
wrap it up.
like the climactic scene.
Yeah. They have a robot face-off.
Yep.
The sort of scrapyard robots that Station has built sprint towards Evil Bill and Ted.
Which they're controlling, which I always
Yeah.
They have
found
joysticks.
joysticks.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's sort of a weird choice. Just like have them be like
Autonomous somehow, yeah.
That's what I thought the whole
Hey guys,
And then they kind of become.
we said it all at the same time.
We're
Jinx,
becoming
you
a
guys
hive
both owe me
mind.
a soda.
Damn it.
And they punt the
They
junkyard
rock'em
Bill and
sock 'em.
Ted's rock 'em
Yeah.
sock their heads off.
But also in classic Bill and Ted fashion, the evil Bill and Ted are kind of excited to see these robots.
And also
Yeah.
like really proud of like good Bill and Ted. They're like, good job, Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
And they like raise their chins because they're like, we know we're gonna get killed. You're like,
Now decapitate us.
Yeah,
Rocket.
yeah, they're
That's
they're
what I
positive
wanna-
about it.
I want to face death the way evil Bill and Ted
Yeah.
face death.
And then
That's
of course,
true.
evil
Hell
Bill and
yeah,
Ted
dude.
they explode, right?
yeah, they
do.
hit their heads off. They explode. Yeah, the crowd goes
and
wild.
then Pam Grier unzips her entire body to be George Carlin.
Which is weird. Like,
And they're like, Rufus, you didn't get stuck in the, whatever the
Yeah.
space-time zone.
But then Denominos
found
comes
it-
in, right? Denominos comes in before Rufus reveals himself.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
So
Yeah.
Denominos comes in and they have
I
like
forgot the guy was the villain.
what they describe in the commentary is like a wizard battle of like we're gonna like get a cage once we win.
Well,
And,
they bring
yeah.
back the same
Yeah.
the same technique from the police
first
station,
movie,
the
yeah.
previous one, where it's like, let's remember when we win, we'll go back and do
Right.
this, which is also a
Yeah.
nice payoff because it's like remembering, like I'm like, it's good because he brings in a phone booth time machine,
Right.
Yeah.
So that once that's
Which I always assume they just had the entire time, but they just don't.
no,
I guess they
I
got
mean,
rid of it.
I think Rufus just returned with it in the first one, and so that's now again, it's just being like it's like economical, resourceful writing where there is now a time machine in play. They
Right.
remember the technique they used, like the strategy from
Yeah.
the previous movie, and so they just use that again to win.
Yeah.
And he kind of uses it back at them. He's like, but I will win, and I will have a key to this cage
Yeah.
you put me
Yeah,
in.
he unlocks himself and then gets a new gun. But then they're like, but ultimately, whoever won is still the definitive, rejigging of time person. So then they give him like a fake gun that pops out, and it's like
Right.
party on, dude. or
Because
whatever.
Victor's
Or no,
write
it's
the
his Wild
history books.
Stallion's
Yeah.
rule. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
And,
say, sorry.
No, go ahead. Victor's write the rules. You're right.
I was gonna say that like I think that both movies have really solid time
Yeah.
travel rules, and that's like something as a big Doctor Who fan and like someone who spends way too much time thinking about time travel. I like watching both movies. Like the mechanics, even like time travel is impossible. Like it works. Like there's no like rule breaking that they don't like. What's a good example of a recent time travel? Like, as much as I like Rian Johnson's movies, obviously, I still have issues with Looper because I'm like, you just broke your own rule at the end where he shoots himself. Because if he shoots himself, then the entire movie should not have happened. That's the rules he set up in the beginning of the movie. Like, you change time gets rewritten.
Wow. Is
and-
Ryan Johnson bad? Is
no,
he a bad director?
No. Ryan Johnson's a
dumb?
very good director.
Oh my god, you're starting to beef with Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you really want to
Jesus.
really bring that kind of
and
heat
here
on
I
yourself?
thought I was a shill. And no, but like, so I think that's like the
Well,
one.
I'm still a shill, Ryan.
Yeah, no, but I think that's like, with these movies,
Yeah.
it does a really good job of like, these are the rules. You go back in time, you have the people back where you found them, and they don't break that rule.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
For a movie about two idiots, it's like pretty
smart about-
consistent.
yeah.
And
And then-
pretty smart movie.
Denomalos is just arrested
Yeah.
by Ted's dad.
who just shows up.
Well, he's there to support his son.
Wait, is
at
he?
the Battle of the Bands.
He's warming a little bit towards
right.
just
Yeah,
letting
he-
Ted do his thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's not
He's
trying
gonna.
to.
He's backing off. He's letting his son grow at his more or less at his own pace.
Right,
He
right,
also
right.
didn't mention that they do bring back the whole like Alaskan military school thing.
Yeah, they do.
But Ted's dad's friend
Actually shows up.
Yeah, who
Yeah.
runs the military academy is actually there.
And
Like,
also
you know,
is one of
Ted-
the demons that
yes,
they face. Yeah,
exactly.
And he's a close talker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember what that actor is because I know him from other stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, then I think this is where they reveal
Yeah.
that that Pam Grier is Rufus.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
And it seems like she's taking her clothing off, and then she just like pulls the whole costume.
And then
And I was getting excited, and then it was George
and
Carlin.
then it was George Carlin's old face, and I was like, no.
What's even weird is like he's in these future outfits. There's
Yeah.
no physical way that like Pam Grier could fit over that
yeah,
outfit.
like a Pam Grier
Yeah.
skin suit, and
Yeah.
could fit over his big felt rescue hero
hey,
boots.
the future.
Yeah. No, I
You're
know,
right,
I know,
you're
I
right.
know, I know. It's
Yeah,
like 400 years in the
you're right,
future.
the
I get
future.
it. I get it. I get
And then
it.
he's
So
like,
then-
I was Pam Grier.
Yeah, the whole time. What's up, guys? And they're like, oh, Rufus, you had a whole game plan. And then, so they're like, oh, we got to do the Battle of the Bands now and play against Primus.
Yeah.
And they still realize they suck at guitar, so they go back to some other alternate timeline where they have the time and space to practice and get really good at guitar.
It's like 18
show
months?
up,
16, I
16 months,
believe.
yeah.
show up. Like now with badass futuristic outfits. Keanu Reeves has a hilarious pirate goatee.
Yeah.
And the babes are now with children. Like
Yeah.
they have
Two
kids
kids now.
and they're awesome at guitar. And then they play this hilarious 80s rock and roll
Yeah.
song, and they win the contest.
The biggest
And
thing that
the
these
future
are
is safe.
Freeze frame.
Which is one of those
Yeah.
things where like you kind of
Roll
assume
credence.
like for number 3, like, well, clearly
Yeah.
they've done what they're supposed to do, but apparently like that's all a dream. Like that what you see, that title sequence like under the credits is going to be a like a dream. That's not
really?
what happens.
You really?
Yeah, that's what they say in the commentary. Like, because apparently, like they've been working on the third film for 10 years.
Right.
So like they've been working on writing it. Like both Keanu and Alex
4-hour
and like the
art
writers
film.
were like, no,
So
we
crazy.
need to like we want to make this as good as possible. And apparently, like this is something we need to deal with. Like it's either happened or it's a dream. But,
Whoa.
yeah.
Okay, so what-
No. Whoa.
Whoa,
Thank
the
you.
gas leak episode.
So what I assumed watching that title sequence, or just like the end credits,
Yeah.
as they go through, it's like all these like magazine covers and newspaper headlines, just like telling you what happens and like just like it basically covering Bill and Ted's like rise and them changing the world.
Yeah.
Also, is this when Ted returns? In their cool new suits and they have like facial hair and stuff like that.
And babies. Ted has Bill.
They both have
Ted
baby
has,
Bjorns or whatever.
Ted has Bill and Bill has Ted. They have
Exactly.
named their kids
So,
after
and
Bill.
and we'll learn that they're both girls
Yeah.
in the new movie. But
That's hilarious.
But is this the first instance in Keanu's filmography of him having facial hair?
No, because I Love You to Death. He has a full.
Oh,
He's
scruffy
had
beard.
scruff and stuff before.
Okay, that is some scruff.
So
Yeah.
I do have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
So you obviously have watched all these films. I've listened to you talk about watching
Have
these
watched
films.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't watched all of them. Like, what have watching Keanu as a performer grow like between Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey? What's like the biggest takeaway that you guys have? Because this
his
is called-
difference in
yeah.
how he plays Ted between the two movies.
Yeah, like just is there anything that you guys notice in terms of his growth?
It's very, very subtle, but I kind of like his performance in the earlier movie a little better.
Really?
I feel like
I
they're
just
like,
think he has a bit more to do because
Yeah.
again, you like I was saying, you have those scenes where they're just talking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
And
It's
so
like I'm hanging
that's
out.
it to me. I like.
Yeah.
In terms of his performance, I was thinking about this. Like, okay, like considering what he went off and did in between, like Dangerous Liaisons and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's a hardened guy now. He's done a bunch of dark shit in between these two movies.
Yeah. I didn't really notice a change in his performance. I mostly liked that he was able to, after making some more serious movies, just like drop back into this as if like not a day had passed.
Yeah, and not be embarrassed by it or feel like I'm a serious actor. I'm not playing Ted anymore.
What we were saying, he didn't go the Sean Penn, Spicoli.
God damn, and Sean Penn just gets more and more depressing and strange.
He really does. But here's another question. So you guys been watching, what is this, like 20 movies now? Something
like that. I don't know.
I think, well, considering we've also covered the recent ones,
right.
And there's like, we've done like 5 or so recent ones.
We've watched several movies.
I guess so with an episode that started with us talking about vomiting has featured pig ears and some really weird digressions into Willow, like a real serious like Keanu Reeves question, like now that you're probably about like midway through or like 2/3 or like a third of the way,
third of the
way through his career, like
what is
maybe no,
just like
we're not even that far.
You're just sort of like seeing the tail end of the beginning of his career. Let's say that. Right, like where do you
barely begun?
I just kind of want, like, what do you guys? What has been your biggest takeaway of Keanu Reeves, the performer, by the time he's at Bogus Journey?
Nothing. He's just a cute goofball. I like him. He's funny.
Yeah, there's
it's made me realize he's just like we all see him as a serious guy now because he's taken so many roles where he plays these sort of deadpan characters and stuff. But I've just realized deep down at heart, even today at age 55, he's just a big goofy.
Yeah.
He's a big silly Billy, and like he's just
He
kind of
gets really enthused about every role he's ever been in from movie one.
And
I think that's like a big thing. Is like
and
he's
knowing
so
that
obsessed.
deep down he's such a silly Billy is like for me just makes me look at all of his serious roles differently in a way that makes me like him.
Yeah, he does. Like he has. We've talked about it so much. Just like that bouncy, like wide-eyed energy in like all of his early movies.
Right.
And so it's just really fascinating seeing like how different he is now.
Yeah.
And I think I'm looking at our schedule coming up.
Yeah.
Because we're still like our Speed episode, which is like
we will be on Speed when we record it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I promise.
Like, we did Point Break, but Speed is a bit more of like him as like a more traditional like action leading man.
Right.
Because again, in Point Break, the point is. No pun intended. Point. He is like the wide-eyed rookie.
Yeah.
Right.
And but Speed isn't until December. We've got like months of movies in between there.
Right.
And but he's been very consistent, and I feel like has kind of perfected this type of performance
Exactly.
like
Right.
up to this point. And so we're still. I mean, our next movie is My Own Private Idaho. So we'll. I mean, you honestly asked us like a week too early about how we feel about him as an actor because that's going to be that is a big step forward.
And I've seen that movie a few times though, and I'll let everyone judge for themselves.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he. I don't know if there's going to be a major leap in our consideration after
Right,
that either.
probably not.
It's a good role. Like he
But
does
that
well.
seems like just in terms of the movie,
Right.
Yeah.
Like a change.
I guess my next question would be like, I didn't listen unfortunately to the Heart Hartnett podcast because I actually didn't know Patrick then, and I wasn't on my radar. I know. I'm sorry. I'll go back. I'll re-listen to it. I swear.
About so many movies you've never heard of.
No, but I guess like it sounds like based on your journey through Keanu. Your Bogus journey through Keanu, that he is someone that you seem to enjoy watching more than you did Hartnett. Because even though like there are like a wide range of movies, like you seem to enjoy him as a performer more often than you would enjoy Hartnett's performance in like even the worst movies.
I don't know if that's true.
Hartnett was just in trash.
Yeah.
He was in straight up garbage movies
Right.
for like a large chunk
Of time,
and we like
yeah.
it was a chore to watch a good number of those movies.
Where like it's like Youngblood apparently is like one of the worst films you guys have watched with Keanu at this point.
I think it's
right?
the worst one so
It's
far.
the worst one,
but you
it's
still seem to have a good time watching it.
Because it's a dumb 80s movie with Rob
Yeah,
Lowe.
you can make fun of it.
It's fun to make fun of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I feel like what Keanu doesn't have that Josh did is he's not being kind of like stuck in as many of the same type of like bland roles with nothing to do.
Right.
usually, there'll be something like fun to talk about with him, or like, even like Tune In Tomorrow, not a good movie. He's not good in it, but there's like, oh my god, Keanu's trying this accent.
He's trying to do something new.
So, guys, we should wrap this up.
All right,
I know. I apologize.
We are like 2.5 hours.
We are longer than Bogus Journey.
We're an
by an
hour.
That was
long as
not
Bogus
my
Journey.
goal, but it kind of was.
I mean, our guest episodes are almost always our longest.
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah. Because it's basically you throw you guys have a set routine or like a sort of set relationship, and then you like throw like a variable into it.
It's chaos.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Brownie in motion.
Are there any final thoughts about the movie anyone wants to throw out there?
Can't wait for the third.
Can't wait. Psyched for the third.
I'm very excited for the third.
Weird, good movie. This one is as well.
No, I same thing. I think it's, except for the third one, because of how weird this one got, it can only mean that there's so much room for the third one to plan.
And I'm just, thank God they got the same writers back.
Yeah.
Adam, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, man.
Where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at Adam Lance Garcia, because I am very boring with my names. It's just my full name.
That's easy.
Consistent.
Adam Lance Garcia. Also, if you want to listen to my audio dramas that I produce with my friend Steele Philippek, it's called Radio Room. We're doing a new season of that next year. If you want to listen to the back catalog, we have Queens of the Sapphire Sea. We also have a couple of other series like Smoke Without Flame, which is a really fun series that I created. Upcoming, we're doing another season of Queens of the Sapphire Sea, and the Green Llama, which is a character I write, who's a Buddhist superhero from the 1940s. There's a bunch of books that you can buy from me about the Green Llama, also on Amazon. Just look up Adam Lance Garcia. And this is all for like 2 of your listeners that listen to this, which is me and like, one of the
Hey, we got 1,000 listeners.
All 2,000. That's what I meant.
You'll see some book sales. You'll see some book sales from this.
So I have a whole series there, and obviously watch videos on Wired. I produce some of them.
Nice.
Only the recent ones.
Only
from
the
when
recent
you started
ones.
working there.
Yes, anything since August 5th. Watch everything before August 5th. Don't
Consider it garbage.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And on that note, I just want to say thank you to Brian Host for our theme song. Thank you to Emma Logsdon for our artwork. You should follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Keanu Podcast. Send us emails, keanupodcast@gmail.com. If you want to mail us anything, P.O. Box 333, Brooklyn, New York, 11238.
like a switch.
Like a switch.
Yeah, for real though.
You can talk about the episodes in our subreddit, r/Thrillums. Jake, you want to plug anything?
Follow me on Vero, just Jake Torpey, straight up.
But isn't it at the real JT?
Yeah, at the real JT.
you got it
so
wrong.
just getting that. Yeah,
It's just you and Zack Snyder on there, right?
just me and
Talking
Zachy
to each
boy.
other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
talking about positivism or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck Ayn Rand made.
Yeah.
Release a Snyder cut every 5 minutes.
Please.
No, I'm making him hold back. I keep telling him not to.
I want every
I let him
last
beg. I say.
inch of uncut Snyder film.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, and be excellent to each other.
Bye.